Get in here, Claire.
Welcome back to All Things Scientology, in which we pull back the curtain on the abusive practices of Scientology. We're your hosts. I'm Claire Headley.
And I'm Amy Miscavige. Hello, everyone. Well, with all the years of experience in Scientology and outside of Scientology being tracked and fair gamed by Scientology, Claire and I have many years, I think it's like 92 combined, of experience to share with you. And well, it's an international show, and we've got people from all over the world with us again this week. And
Yes.
let's call out some of these. I mean, we've got Clearwater, Australia going on here.
Wow. Who knew? And I saw Glasgow, Clearwater, Vermont.
Clearwater. I saw Gettysburg, PA, and Montana, and Clearwater, Arizona.
Nice. I see Clearwater, Wisconsin, Tallahassee, Florida.
Oh my gosh. Central Arkansas. Nice. Southern Utah.
Nice. Central Alabama, Central Florida.
I like this exotic. Oh, it just flew by. It was exotic though. And
Toronto, BFG in the house. I see my hubby, Colorado.
Oh, nice. Hey, yay. Colorado. Yeah.
Yay for having him back in Colorado, finally.
Yeah, exactly. My husband's home too. Very happy. Kansas City, Pittsburgh.
I see Cece's Comfort Cooking in the house from Hannibal, Missouri.
Nice. Hi, Cece. Yes. Seattle. Well, that's my hometown. Nice.
Awesome.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Bryan, Texas.
Nice.
Kansas City. Well, welcome everybody. It's really, really wonderful to have you all here today. And we have a special guest with us. Do you want to introduce him, Claire?
Yes, very definitely. So, and just as a precursor to that, we're doing things a little differently today to accommodate all of our schedules. So we're going to talk with our wonderful guest. And then afterwards, at the end of the show, we'll do our weekend review and our normal Q&A and our giveaways. So with that, our guest for today is none other than our dear friend, Sterling Tompkins, who I think I've known Sterling since the early 1990s. And Amy, how long have you known Sterling?
I don't know. We're going to have to talk about this.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah. With that, here is our special guest for this week. Hey. And welcome, Sterling.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, it's been forever, Amy. Forever.
I know. You look exactly the same. I wish I could say the same thing.
I was what, 120 pounds when I was there. So I was like a rail, but unhealthily.
Yeah.
A rail. So I've put on a little weight for sure. I hope at least.
You look fantastic.
I will say we were talking about this beforehand, but I love your new studio setup. And to everybody here, we're linking to Sterling's new channel, Leaving Scientology, Loving Life. So don't forget to get over there and subscribe. Sterling, very, very well. A big welcome to SPTV Nation.
Thank you. Anyone that can say that fast 5 times, that title fast 5 times, I'll give you $20 because there's no way.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, Sterling was trying to tell me what the channel name was so I could make this banner right here, and he was like, "Okay, Loving Scientology? No, that's not it." Leaving Scientology, Loving Life, and I think that's wonderful. And loving life, that's wonderful. Just tell us, what is your life like now?
Different. And I've mentioned it several times. Mark and Claire were kind of a big part of that for me. When I had nobody and I wasn't comfortable enough to, go into the workaday world and try to find something. I didn't really know what my niche was at the time. And they just gave me this job. I was babysitting every once in a while. I was helping Mark on projects. I was helping Stefan on projects. And that was such a key moment for me in between where I finally found what I love to do. And so I've been traveling the world and going all over the place and doing the things, problem solving, which is kind of what I love to do. I'm not going to get into detail what my job is because it gets super confusing to everybody. But I love what I do because there's not a single day that's the same. And I'm always helping people and facilitating. And that's really what I love to do. So
that's amazing.
That's
well, on that note, Sterling, turns out we have a surprise for you.
Yo, dude, how's it going?
Okay, I love that yours, if Darth Vader had a podcast room, it would look exactly like yours.
That's right. You know, Claire told me that red and black is like Hubbard decided that was like super evil colors, red and black.
It's the enemies on the whole track. Shelley Miscavige is the one who told me that. There is a Hubbard advice about it that says, red and black. The soldiers, the evil soldiers on the whole track would wear red and black.
And I picked red and black before I knew that. So that's just like perfect for me. I'm all about that.
Oh my God.
Hey guys. Hey Amy. Hey.
Hi Mark. How are you?
I'm good.
We've all got our awesome themes. Obviously, mine is alcohol and playing sports. So,
yay!
I was telling Claire before we started that I don't know if you knew this, but I worked with you. You knew that part. The part you know that I love AV stuff, and like I can just set up my entire system, program everything in my house, and I guess I kind of learned a bit of that from you. Not kind of, definitely. And I love doing that stuff now. It's so setting up my whole YouTube thing, plugging in my lights, like just been a project for me that I've been enjoying so much.
Yeah,
so much.
Are we streaming this on your channel too, Sterling?
No, I was late. I was late on that. I should have brought that up earlier.
Oh, you can.
It's all right.
Can't you just say add to stream?
Yeah, guests can stream on their own channel now on StreamYard. So if you're in there, you can you can go in the settings and make it so it can, or at least the next time you do one, you can stream it to your channel as well.
Yeah, and I think so. I think I'm doing an interview with Aaron after tomorrow or some point when he's done with the Danny Masterson stuff. So we'll do another bit. And I've actually been making notes and since I talked to you, Claire, because when we talked last time, there was so much stuff that starts popping up, memories of people that you love, people that you didn't love.
Yes.
And I've got one big tabby that's like this big for Jenny Linson on my fridge. And I just keep writing her name over and over again because I can't think of anyone else I didn't really like. But no, I've been writing down little interesting stories and people we knew and incidents. And, so I can't wait to talk about some of those because it's a great sort of, it gives more of a picture of what the cult's like and the damage that it can do and stuff like that. So
yes, no, very definitely. We're going to have a lot of great talks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Mark, I can't believe how big your kids are.
Oh my God. My 11-year-old is taller than David Miscavige.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old son is taller than David Miscavige.
He's
and
10.
Now
he's 10. He's not 11.
Well,
okay.
He's no matter what age he is, he's still taller.
He is. And he's almost taller than me too, but and I'm not even that short.
Well, I asked some family members about the height because I wanted to verify it. And I got from several people that know every square inch of David Miscavige's body.
Yeah.
That he is 5'4" apparently.
I know, but then how can Claudio say that because Claudio was his tailor?
I don't disagree with that, but you do pants and shirts separately. So I don't know that those two things put together necessarily make the overall height. Just saying. But
I don't know.
Not giving him extra inches. He needs them. I'm not trying to give them to him.
Yeah.
But that would make sense to me. Because he had to jump up over the little partitions in CMU to talk to people sometimes.
I know, but also I had that height simulator thing.
Yeah.
And so I had all of their heights. I had Ray Midoff's height, Mark Yeager's height, Guillaume's height, and Dave's height. And I always remember it as 5'1".
If you scientifically have it proven like that, then I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going based on people with memories. But I always find it a funny conversation. So
well, to be fair, I never say 5'1".
Okay.
I always say 413 because that's even shorter than 5'1". So I say 413. That's whenever I say how tall he is, I say 413. But I do remember looking down at him, and I'm only like 5, 10 and a half, 11 on my license. but
on my license.
I gave myself a half an inch for the license.
I'm 5'7", and I was definitely taller.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
at
5'9".
least 3 inches, if not 4 inches taller, for sure.
I'm 5'9", and I had a friend that didn't believe it, and I went down to visit them last week, and they made me go measure myself in their house.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's awkward.
That's aggressive.
It was actually 5'8.5", and I was wearing Vans.
Did it have a scale and the height thing, or was it just a height
just a height thing? Just a height thing. Yeah, I was like, really? Wow.
It took a ruler and a little pencil on the.
Did they give you a piss test while you were there? What kind of place is this? Who are you hanging out with?
Great friends, right?
What kind of friend is this?
They gave me a drink too. What's wrong with them?
Oh my gosh.
No, so happy to see you, Mark. It's been so long.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It has been a while. You know, it was so funny because I was talking to somebody, a mutual acquaintance. We won't say their name because of the story.
Yeah.
But years and years and years ago, somebody that Sterling and I both knew who was working for Golden Era was in Malibu on the side of the highway, and he had a security guard from Golden Era with him. Yep. And he had some bandages around his arms, like around his wrists. And the security guard was walking him along the highway into a house. Okay. Now, I'm in Colorado. Sterling is driving down Pacific Coast Highway, and he sees this happen. He sees this guy.
Oh, I didn't know it was Sterling that told you that.
Being walked into a house, and he picks up the phone. Like within seconds, he pulls over, he calls me, and he says, "You're never going to believe this, Mark, but I just saw Blotty Blah being led into a house in Malibu by Matt Butler, the security guard at Golden Era." And I still had this guy's phone number in my phone. Actually, do I have my phone? Oh, I left it somewhere. Anyway, so I look up his phone and I text him and I say, "Hey, I don't know what's going on, but if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. And I hope your arms heal. I hope you feel better, your arms feel better," or whatever, something of that sort.
Wow.
Okay. Crazy. So I talked to this person. This person has now left and is no longer working at Golden Era, and he's no longer, following. He's not in Scientology. and the security guard had his phone when I texted him.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
He must have been taking a double look around the neighborhood.
Anyway,
like, but they're like,
how is Mark texting this guy right now? Like,
oh my God.
like they literally walked from the car into the house, and he gets a text from me saying, "Hey, if you need anything, I'm here for you." And anyway, so I thought, oops.
Oops, yeah.
Anyway.
I was seconds away from stopping, but I had a car behind me.
Well, also, there's not a lot we would be able to do if we were physically there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think that they would also have his phone, or they'd see that somebody's texting him or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's a bummer. Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't want to hijack your thing, Amy. So you just have to tell me to shut up if I talk to you.
Mark, I love listening to you. I would never tell you to shut up.
Okay.
He's a great storyteller.
We should have had like a code
ladies
word.
Don't have a habit of telling people to shut up either. We love to let people talk.
I know, but I was thinking,
it's just very entertaining.
I was thinking before the scream, if we could have a code word, like if either of you says, "I know what you mean," then that means, okay, shut up, Mark. It's your turn. Your turn's over.
I know what you mean.
And hey, just shout out. We're already up over 800 people tuning in. Yay. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great to have
Hello,
you here.
Everyone. Yes.
Well, we have to ask, Amy. I remember the first time I met you. I believe it was on Saturday Renos, and you'd come out to the ranch with a crew to work on Saturday Renos. That's the first time I ever remember seeing you.
Are you sure I was working on Saturday Renos and not going to the RPF for my 17th time?
No, because I do specifically remember you coming, and I remember Ronnie being there, and a few people would selectively come out in the very beginning of the ranch to do Renos there specifically, and I remember seeing you there. Memory is fallible, I get that, but I do remember seing you there.
And so, Sterling, at that time, you were a cadet at the ranch. Okay,
that's right.
So you were a cadet there.
And what year did you move to the base and become staff at the base?
I think either 92 or 93.
Okay.
It was after the flood. Like maybe a year and a half after the flood.
The flood was August 1990.
Yeah, so probably 93 then. I'm going to guess 93.
Okay.
Where were you before that?
I was at the ranch, but before that, I was in SEMO PAC for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that didn't go well. I got in trouble. So Justin and Jenna and all the original crew had been brought up to the ranch, but they were all cadets down in LA or children. I had gone into SEMO PAC and then got in a bunch of trouble, and then Biddy brought me up to the ranch later on. So I got there after Mike Brown and Mike Norton and Justin and Jenna.
Okay.
But how old were you when you actually were because you were like 16 when you came to 15 or 16 when you came to the base, right?
I think I was 15 when I came to the base.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's another thing a lot of people don't know is there were kids. Yeah. He was an older kid that came to the base. There were kids that came when they were 12, 13, 11. I think that girl didn't Lawanda Romer.
Oh, she was there for a long.
Yeah, she was like 14, but she didn't come from the ranch.
No, I know, but
from CC. But yes, she was like 14. Laura Dolan was 13 or 14.
Yeah, working 120 hours a week.
I think Jessica Epstein, wasn't she one of the younger cadets that came to work at Gold?
I'm trying to think because it obviously the first was Nathaniel Epstein and Nada Willoughby, and then it was myself, Matt Price, and Mike Norton. And then the doors after that kind of started flooding open.
Because it was a huge recruitment pool to fill all the, let's get them into HEM. Let's, where they are building meters, or let's get them doing all these different things that you need manpower for.
Yeah. And by the way, can I just make a comment? Because when you were talking about the Jenna and Justin going to the ranch, it's so weird to me that in Scientology, the word children is a derogatory term.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah.
You're a child.
Yeah.
That's 100% derogatory term.
No, it was a condition.
I know. That too.
Right. You are assigned a condition of child.
Yes. That was below confusion. Did you guys know that, Amy?
No, I never heard that.
I got assigned that with Mike Norton when we were in the HU in the SEMO Gold. Yep. Because we just finished turning in our stats. And he had a black Sharpie and I had a black Sharpie. We were marking our graphs. And I think I swiped his forearm with it. And then he kind of swiped my forearm. And then we were full up swiping each other and like trying to hit each other down the hallway in the second floor of the SEMO Gold building. And one of our Sharpies had actually broken open. So there were black spots on the entire hallway. And then Clark Morton destroyed us for that. I mean, destroyed us. I actually got more trouble because I was like, I don't get what the big problem is. I'll just paint it. And Norton didn't really get in much trouble for whatever reason. I got the brunt of that one. And we'll never prove who Sharpie broke, but it happened. So.
Oh my gosh! And you were assigned a condition of child.
I was actually assigned a condition of child. Yep.
Do you remember what the formula for that was?
I don't.
No, I don't
either. Condition of child. Oh my
God.
God.
It really was a thing.
First time I've ever
Mark brought it up. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah. Condition of child.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally was assigned anything and everything that anyone could come up with. And I literally never heard of that one.
Well, to be fair, it was in the cadet org where it was a cadet org issue that said, if you do this or when you're a cadet, you get lowered to a condition of child. Yeah. So I don't think it was I don't think it was in the Sea Org proper, but in the cadet org, it was sort of like.
I definitely got it though. I definitely.
So they start. So they start degrading people just as little kids and figure out different names and things and conditions and stuff for you to do that degrade you. Like,
however they can.
From the, wow.
Yeah.
You don't wait until you get in there.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know there's something hanging right there just in case you go out of line, even the kids, the kids.
In the comments, Free Xenu Project says, I would have been assigned a condition of pain in the ass because it's the shortest route to their brain.
That is good.
That's a great comment.
God.
That's
man. But I just remember, Sterling, I remember seeing you running around the base and you were always so enthusiastic. And it was just a breath of fresh air for you to be there. It was just like, what do you need me to do? Okay, let's go. And And don't you remember, do you feel like that too, Mark? That's how he was. You were always running around and, Mr. Can Do. And that's the impression that I got from seeing you on the property.
Yeah.
I was a little more jaded by the time I got to Mark. By the time Mark and I knew each other. But you're right. When I first got there, absolutely was charging around the place. Like I owned it, picking up peacock shit, doing all that kind of stuff.
I still can hear in my mind when I think about it, when we would do setups in MCI, I can hear Mark completely saying, "Set it up."
That was the standard line if we're going to break down chairs and reset up the chairs and down at the mess hall. I remember that.
And I was the one who would say it. So it would be right after, so the way it worked is we would go to this dining hall, and there was, I would say at the time, there was almost 1,000 people, because that's how many. Yeah. That's about how many chairs we had. So we couldn't seat more than the amount of chairs we had. And we always had a few extra chairs. So I'm pretty sure it was always under 1,000, but we'd set all those chairs up on one side of the dining room. And then the RTC, the Religious Technology Center, the people that worked for Dave and the people that worked in Religious Technology Center and what's called the Commodore's Messenger Organization International, and CMO Gold. That's another group that just bosses around gold.
I think there's like several echelons.
Yeah. And then there was also the exec strata and a few other people, but all those guys would all sit in the very front. And then the Golden Era production guys would sit in back. So we were the Chump Change Express. We all were in the back. So whatever the event, if we were listening to an L. Ron Hubbard lecture, or we were having staff briefing of some sort that Dave Miscavige would do to everybody, when it was over, once the RTC and once the CMO executives and the CMO staff and the CMO Gold staff, once they would all leave, we would all be standing there at attention. And once they would be going towards the back of the room and out, then that's when I would yell, "Set it up." And then everybody would transform the dining room. Well, because only the gold guys, only the gold guys would know that.
I was in gold, but
you never knew who was saying it?
No, because it just resonated throughout the whole place.
No megaphone, no microphone, just me yelling at 1,000 people, telling every person, "Okay, you, tables over there, chairs here. Okay, you." And even though we did it every single week. Yeah. For years.
Yeah.
And there would still be people 5 years in going like, "What am I supposed to do?" It's be like, "We do this every week." Okay. Like, get a chair and bring it, it was like,
just, there was a group of people, and I got good at this, that would figure out how to look like they were helping without helping.
Oh yeah. We all knew that. Yeah. We all knew that.
And that was, that was my job to smoke those guys out and be like, hey, come on, seriously. Like, everyone sees that you've moved the same chair 6 times. Okay, get a new chair.
Hold one chair the entire time and then fit it into the line.
Yeah, some people would just carry a chair around for a few minutes in a little area to make it look like they were moving chairs. And sometimes I would be like, "Can you put that thing down somewhere and get another one? Come on, like, seriously."
It's so true. That's absolutely how it went. Yes.
I mean, I'm telling you, like 4 trips to the RPF and you're supposed to run everywhere you go. You learn how to do the RPF shuffle where you look like you're moving and you're actually going slower than if I was walking.
That's so good.
Hey, Mark, I got to tell you though, on this pecking order thing, the guys up in the Watchdog Committee and CMO International, whenever Dave would come in, it was always how amazing and compliant and productive Gold was, and how much we were scumbags, never getting anything done, and deserve the RPF's RPF. So, you might feel a little degraded sitting in the back or something like that, but we were getting the thrashing. That's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I learned way later on when in the 2000s, when I was now, I was on the international FP and I would go to meetings with Dave a lot. And then, so the more I was doing that, I was like, "Oh, these guys are getting more or less or about the same, or maybe more shit than we are down in Golden Era." And then it got to a point where I didn't even call Guillaume, sir, or Mark Yeager, sir. It was just like, hey, Guillaume, you know, it got to the point where there was no respect. There was no.
There were doormats.
Yeah, and David Miscavige.
And even the contrary, you would get in trouble if you did, right?
Yeah,
you would get in trouble if you called Mark Yeager and Guillaume, sir.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It got to a point where if David Miscavige was within earshot and you said, and Mark Yeager or somebody was talking to you and you said, yes, sir, I'll right away. And then he would go like, wait a minute, did you just call him sir? And he'd be like, yes, sir. And he'd be like, yeah, don't ever do that again. And then you're like, oh, now it's on. Now even the gold guys are even, you know, like, wow.
Yeah. But you remember that gold crew used to stand up on the buses. Like, like you would get in trouble if you did not stand up for an in-base staff member.
Yeah.
By the time I was out of there, it was first come, first come, first serve. There was no longer Yeah.
I got to tell you this joke that Marc Headley tells.
It's the best.
I repeat it like okay, Mark, you tell it because you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's the best Sea Org joke ever because it works in every single Sea Org place. And it's only a joke that you can tell to other Sea Org members or maybe Scientologists or staff members. They might know too if they were in like a place where there was a Sea Org base. How many Scientologists can you fit on a bus?
Isn't it Sea Org members?
What did I say?
Scientologists.
Oh, how many
Sea Org members?
How many Sea Org members can you fit on a bus?
Okay,
all of them. So if there is a bus, this is a thing. I'm pretty sure it's at every base because I've seen it at Florida, I've seen it in LA, and I've seen it at the base. If there is a bus that has seats for 37 people, and there are 87 Sea Org members, when that bus pulls away, they will all be on that bus. And if there's 187 Sea Org members, they will still all be on that bus.
And I know it because you remember I used to drive the crew, and every day I was a bus driver.
And also,
I'd pack them in there.
That.
Yeah.
When I was in ground,
bless your heart. Bless your heart for letting everybody on that bus because there's no. What do? I've stood out there so many times waiting for a ride that never comes.
Yeah, because
I would look at my rearview mirrors, and if someone was running to the bus because they were late, I would stop. And when I was at Kirby, I would wait an extra 5 minutes because I knew I could still get there on time because I've been the person on the other end. Missing
That's amazing. Thanks for being kind.
I know. Kudos to you.
Jeff Walker was a bus driver for a little while in the 1990s. He used to be the international case. He was the case supervisor. Senior case supervisor. International. Well, when he got busted off that post because he escaped, when he was recovered and gotten back to the property, he worked in motor pool and he became a bus driver. And when we were on the night shift, we would have to be outside. We would sleep during the day, and we would go outside of our Sea Org berthing at Kirby or Devonshire, whichever one it was at. And we had to be there at 4:45 to get picked up to be there by 5 o'clock dinner. He was picking up two people with one of those big buses. And if we weren't there at 4:45, he would just leave. If we came there at 4:45 and 30 seconds, he would be long gone. Wow. So and sometimes he would leave earlier than 4:45. So we would legitimately be out there at 4:45 and he wouldn't be there, or he would forget, or. So
man, you're screwed when that happens. Because what do you do?
You totally are.
Yeah,
the one time Uber.
Actually that happened to me twice. One time was when I was in Religious Technology Center and we had stayed up. So we were supposed to be at muster by 1:30 p.m. So we hadn't gone home until like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I overslept. And I literally grabbed my bicycle and I went as fast as I could. And even then, I think I pulled in at like 1:29. I was purple, and of course, David Miscavige made a point to be like, "What's wrong with you?"
Great.
Like, wow. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
You made it go right to get there on time is what's wrong with you.
Yeah, he couldn't understand. He had to take 10 steps to get there. He couldn't understand why you weren't on time.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
That is true. Where they mustered was literally right on the other side of where he lived.
And he rarely attended muster anyway. So, you know.
But he picked the one that you were late to be
exactly
as it would be, right?
Yeah.
I knew people that fell asleep in the back of the bus waiting for like the 3 o'clock bus. They would go there at 2, fall asleep. The bus would go in, and sometimes would come back, and they still were asleep and woke up the next morning in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
My God.
I was just going to say that was such a common thing where people would miss like the 11 o'clock bus. And so it would come back and park. And then there would be like a 2:45 or 3:45 bus or something. 3:45 a.m. we're talking about, guys.
Yeah.
And so some people would fall asleep on that 3 o'clock bus. And it would go back and drop everybody off and then go back and park for morning, or it would park at a different berthing. It would end up at a different berthing at the end of the night, and they'd get up and they'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm at Devonshire." It'd be like, "Oh, you fell asleep, huh?" You're like, yeah, you got to walk. And then they would have to walk from one apartment complex all the way. It's like an hour. It was like an hour walk, I think.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to get there because I didn't know what streets we were on. I could have lived there for 20 years and couldn't tell you what street I lived on.
Yeah, because we never drove anywhere. The bus drivers with Sterling, you knew your way around, but we would just get on the bus and fall back asleep.
And fall
then
asleep.
Be like,
yeah.
Okay, get off the bus. Like just the zombie zone. We were in the zombie zone.
Yeah.
I didn't know Devonshire and Kirby because I think someone I knew lived at. Anyways, I'd rollerblade back and forth on the week on Sunday morning sometimes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like Power. I didn't crash in the middle on a Sunday morning, but
yes, that is one of the best stories. I might do a video where I just tell that one story because it's out of all the stories. I mean, I used to tell that story at the base to people and they loved it. I remember I had to drive. I was a driver because I was one of the few people that could drive as well. And I also learned how to drive a bus. But when we were going to Los Angeles, I was driving an RTC van for them because they didn't have drivers really. They got driven. They weren't driving themselves in the most case. And I drove Claire and I want to say about 6 or 7 other RTC gals. It was all women, all females. Yeah.
It was, and they were all execs, RTC execs. And that was the first time that I really realized that Marc is an incredible storyteller. I have not laughed that hard in a very, very long time. So he had all of us laughing.
Yeah. So on the way to LA, I stretched it out too. I stretched it out for like a 2-hour story. And because we were driving all the way to LA. When I let them out at the Shrine Auditorium for the event, they had to fix their makeup. I made every single one of them cry from laughing so hard that they messed up their makeup. And I was like, that's right. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Those are my services, my driving and my storytelling services.
And your humor.
Oh my God.
I actually later on, Yvonne used to pick me to drive in all the RTC staff when they were still Devonshire.
Really?
Yeah, so I had to drive, but there was no storytelling for me.
No. Even I would. Like I would start doing this and Claire would be like, "Oh gosh, Marc, look."
I'd be like, "Please stop talking."
Yeah, because like the RTC guys, at most of the time, they're not even allowed to like show emotions. Yeah. So when I'm like joking around and stuff, at first they're all like, like they're not going to break like Fleur. We're talking about Fleur Thomas and
Sue Gentry, Will Hare,
and these gals, the ones that are like, like. They're not laughing at jokes. No. That's not happening.
Pam Ford's probably another one.
But by the time we got to LA, they were laughing. They were. I had them wrapped around my little pinky finger.
Well, did you hear about last week my interview with Claire on where Shelley and we're trying to figure out
now let's just take care of something here, Mister. Okay. I only disagreed with Marc on one thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do this. Okay.
What is it? Let's hear because after you tell this, I'm gonna think of another. If you don't say the thing I think you're gonna say, then I'm gonna tell you the second thing.
Great, but we're being this is in the Sea Org though.
Oh,
so are Amy and I moderators, or how does this work?
No, you can. Let's hear your story, and I'll tell you my story. Because
Amy.
I'm with you, Sterling. So we're gonna
you're our guest, Sterling. Okay. So we're gonna be nice to you no matter what happens.
Well, I'm your guest too.
Well, okay.
I get
what do you mean?
We're on our channel, honey. So we
I know,
have
but
to be
I'm not
nice
on
to our
this.
guests.
Is not my show. This is the Amy and Claire show.
Mark, let them judge fairly.
Okay.
Yes.
So by the time I finish this story, it may be so not anything, but we'll go there. Okay, so the one time I ever got into anything with you at the Gold Base, and for a little bit of pre-story on that, I was Cindy's best friend when I was in grounds. I would go on shoots all the time, as I discussed with Mitch. I had a dump truck, so I go pick up sets for them all the time. And I did a lot of stuff for pre-production. I loved doing that because it got me out of the base. It got me driving the truck, and I enjoyed it. So I just loved. And then
we knew that, and we took advantage of that as on every account we could.
And I got trashed, and I haven't told that story yet about being brought up in front of the whole Gold crew and being told they should beat me to get the change out of my pockets. But and that's why I don't like Jenny Linson. That was her. Anyways, so all that being said, I did it all the time. I love Cindy. I just got along with people in there. Mark, it was, and they treated me very nice. So it was really nice. But I eventually leave grounds because I picked up a skill doing work in SFX of doing the fly-through videos for the new renovations. And Tom DeVock tries to get me posted in the landlord office. So I'm actually in CMO for like a week after I was in grounds. Like a whole week I was there. I even went to a staff meeting, and it was like I got up in front of the staff meeting at CMO and briefed them on everything I was working on. And they were like, we never have heard this. You guys get, they were so excited that a staff member would get up and talk about what they were doing. And we did that all the time in the Gold staff meeting. So they were like shocked that ever happened. But apparently someone found out I was in the landlord office, and Tom DeVock got vetoed. I mean, only could be Shelly or Dave. Said get him out of there right now. He can't be in. He can't be in it. So I got posted in CMU. Okay, now when I got posted in CMU, which is the Central Marketing PDO CMU, I forget what it was called at the time.
Now I know exactly where this is
Mark,
going.
You were the,
I had no idea you were in CMU.
He was the producer, probably.
Yes, he was a producer. And so I get in there. I'm in there 2-3 days, right? I'm learning the ropes because I know Photoshop, I know InDesign, I know post-production. Ricky Rodine's my senior. I'm working with Greg Hughes Jr. And something needs to happen, and I'm getting it ready. Mark comes down there and goes, where is this thing? And I'm like, I'll have it ready in like 10 minutes. He goes, no. You guys always are late on the shit. I need the stuff now. And I turned to you and I said, don't fucking talk to me like that. I've been here for one goddamn week. I'm not the same as everyone else. I've just got here, so you can't talk to me like that. And he right away went, okay, can I have the thing? I was like, yeah, sure. Here we go.
That's exactly.
I ever butted heads with you.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But even that's like, that is a wimpy thing. Like,
but I remember it. I remember David Miscavige on the other end going, where the hell are you? And why aren't you here with the file that you said you were going to get an hour ago? Yeah. So you probably had leniency on me, which was appreciated.
Yeah.
You actually I don't know. Yeah, I never had a confrontation. That was it.
Yeah.
I never had a confrontation.
Yeah.
With you. Yeah.
Okay. So that's like that to me. I wouldn't even count that as like anything. That was like a Tuesday. Okay, but this is the story I thought of when you said that.
Okay. I'm ready for this.
Okay, now in order to tell this story, I have to tell you another story. So
go for it.
Daniel Christian.
There we go.
Daniel Christian was a punk ass little kid at the base. And when in the early 90s, when I got there in 1990, I got there like a few months before the Great Flood of August 1990. And it was actually right around my birthday in May when I arrived at the property. It was my 17th birthday when it was turning 16 to 17. And there's this kid that shows up, and his name is Daniel Christian. And Daniel Christian was a little kid. He was 14 or 15 when he showed up at the property.
Probably.
And he worked in the qualifications division, which is where the staff would do courses. And he worked in the same area as Claire. So Claire was in that same group. It was called the Key to Life and the Life Orientation Course Room. And Daniel Christian, was he the course admin or? He was a supervisor.
He was a supervisor.
He was a supervisor. So he
in
watched,
normal terms, he was a teacher that would get people through their course.
Exactly.
And yeah.
And he was a punk ass little bitch at the same time. He was both of those things.
Yep.
And he lived with me in the same dorm. So it was me and about, I want to say 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 other guys. There's like one room with 4 people and another room with 4 people, or 2 bunk beds and 2 sets of bunk beds in one bedroom and 2 sets of bunk beds in another bedroom. And I think we even had some in the living room for a while. So let's say 8 to 10 people in this 2-bedroom apartment. One bath,
single males,
one or 2 bathrooms, and like one communal, and then one of the bedrooms would usually have its own bathroom, and then you'd have a shared one in the hallway. Okay, Daniel Christian, in the kitchen we had a refrigerator, and most of us were broke, but I had money because I worked before I joined the Sea Org, and I used to sell toy airplane gliders, and I had like $4,000 or $5,000 in the bank when I joined the Sea Org.
What?
Okay, so I always had money, and I could go like buy donuts or 2-liter bottle of soda or something. And I also bought a refrigerator, and the refrigerator was in the kitchen. It was like one of those small little dorm refrigerators. And somebody in our apartment would constantly eat my donuts and drink my Sprite. And after monitoring the situation and speaking with the other dorm mates, we determined Daniel Christian was the #1 suspect that was doing this. So I ground up an entire bottle of niacin. So we're talking like 1 million milligrams of niacin. I ground it. I just sat there with a mortar and a pestle, and I ground up the entire thing. I drank about, I don't know, a cup or 2 of the Sprite. And then I poured that entire bottle of niacin into the Sprite bottle. So
kill somebody.
So like a sip would have been 10,000 milligrams of niacin. And I'm like, Daniel Christian, you are going to steal the drink of a lifetime. So
I hope you told the other guys not to drink it.
I did. I said, listen, guys, I'm spiking the Sprite. Daniel is going to pay for this. And he's never going to eat another one of my donuts or my Sprite ever again.
Nor is he going to be able to deny that he's the culprit if he's turned purple.
If you drink a sip of Sprite with whatever it was, 1 million milligrams, 1 sip, easily you'll get a reaction for probably, I would say, several hours, if not all night long.
I can feel a new hate video coming on.
Oh yeah, Mark, get all these people. Osa, round up all the people in this story and let's get a video because it's the best, one of the best stories ever.
They've already got my clip. They just need to copy this. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now dig it, guys. If you're getting $46 a week and somebody's eating $10 worth of your food, that's a big chunk of your budget. Okay.
Especially as a teenager.
Yeah. And I was, exactly. I was 17. I'm like, who's drinking my soda? Like, this is not cool. Like, if somebody who goes into the fridge and takes somebody else's food, that's not cool. That's just not cool. Anyway, so I brief everybody, hey, don't drink the Sprite. It's got a bit of niacin in it. And so that's it. Okay. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there when it was given out. I was just there when it happened. But Tom Pope was chatting with his friend. You mentioned him earlier, Nathaniel Epstein.
Okay. Nathaniel
Epstein and Tom are talking in our living room, or our like front area kitchen room. And he asked Tom, hey, do you mind if I have a little bit of Sprite? And Tom totally forgets that I've spiked the
oh no,
that I've spiked the Sprite.
On.
And he pours an entire cup of Sprite and he drinks it. And him and Tom are just sitting there yapping. And then also Nathaniel brought a cup of noodles. So he heats that up in the microwave and he makes himself a cup of noodles. He eats the cup of noodles and then they finish their conversation and then he goes home. And meanwhile, Daniel has come home and Tom and I are waiting. And Tom doesn't realize that Nathaniel has already taken a full cup of the Sprite and left. He doesn't realize, oh yeah, we spiked the thing. Anyway, Daniel doesn't ever get any of the Sprite. He doesn't take any. About an hour later, damn it, the freaking door is like it's about to get busted in, like a fireman, like, and it's like, you know, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning now. We're all asleep. We get up, we come out, and Nathaniel is standing there, and he is red as a tomato. His entire body, his hands, his fingers, his face, his everything is burning red, and he's on fire, and he's screaming. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'm burning up. And then Tom looks at him and he goes, what happened? And he goes, I don't know. I think I might be allergic to cup of noodles. Anyway. And I come stumbling over, and I'm like, did you drink some of my soda? And he goes, yeah. Tom said I can have some. I was like, well, it's not Tom's, first of all. You have a lot of niacin in your system right now. You should probably drink as much water as you can. Oh, okay, no, so then Daniel laughs because he's there. He's like, ah, ha, ha, you didn't get me. Okay, so, and then I told him the reason I did that is because you keep stealing my soda. Anyway, so that's Daniel in a nutshell. I had to just tell that. Okay. So now fast forward, this is like 1990 when this happens, 1990, 1991. Fast forward to 2006. And now we've all left the Sea Org. Daniel Christian's not in the Sea Org. Daniel Christian didn't last that long at all. He was gone a few years later. Yeah.
No, he escaped in 1993 or 1994. He went on a leave. So he went to visit his family for 1 week. And then he refused to come back. And then I got in big trouble because I had done his leaving interrogation.
Yeah. That's right.
So I was given a committee of evidence because he refused to come back. And he did come back. And then I yelled at him and I was like, you suck.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that also Claire got in big trouble because he escaped and he didn't come back. And she was
like
the person
200 hours of amends. It was awful.
Okay. So fast forward,
going.
Fast forward 2006, and we live in Burbank, California. Claire and I are just recently out. We have a child. We live in Burbank in a little house. And now who shows up on our radar? Sterling. Okay. And Sterling is coming over and hanging out. And we like Sterling. We all know Sterling. We also, the person who lives with us is Suzette. Shelley's half sister, Suzette.
But I came after her.
I understand.
Yes, you did.
That was also living with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Sterling used to be married to Suzette. And so we all know each other. And that's
we had all the same friends. You know, we had all known each other. Yeah.
Anyway, so Sterling is hanging out. And then who comes over? Our best buddy Daniel starts coming over with Sterling. And this is the funniest story. And I've never actually, I don't think we've ever talked about this, Sterling.
I only remember Daniel coming one time.
That's right.
Did he come more than that?
Was when
No, he did come one time.
Okay. And that was, and you're getting to the Nathan.
Yes.
No. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. Yes. That's exactly right. We had been working with Sterling on how to help his brother Nathan escape from the Sea Org.
Yeah. And to be clear, you were going to give him a job the second he got on ground and a place to stay.
That's right. Yes. We had it all set up so that he could escape and then he could work and make money and we could reintegrate him into society.
And I was doing the pizza joint with you in Santa Monica while this was happening.
That's right.
That's right. Yes.
And okay, now, and this is how it happened. Nathan got on a plane and he ended up getting did he end up in a layover? He had a layover
in Texas.
He had a layover.
He was coming from Florida to California.
Yep.
And he had a layover in Texas.
Dallas, I believe. Yeah. Dallas.
Yep.
And he's in the Dallas airport.
Yeah.
And his flight, his connecting flight, somehow he just gets bumped off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a ticket, but he gets bumped mysteriously from the flight. And who shows up at Dallas airport to meet him? Didn't Barbara?
Barbara.
Yeah.
Barbara showed up to meet him. But
his
before
mom,
that was known, Daniel came over to your house. I was there, but I hadn't seen Daniel in 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm over at your house because we're talking about it. He all of a sudden invites himself over, comes over, and then the next day Nathan's caught in Dallas.
That's right. But so Daniel is just hanging out. We're in the living room, and Sterling is there, and Claire's there, and I'm there, and our good friend Daniel is there. And we're just sitting on the couch chatting. And this goes on for probably, I'd say half hour, 45 minutes. Yeah. And then I look at Daniel and I say, so how does it work, Daniel? And he goes, what do you mean? How does what work? Yeah. And I say, do you go into OSA once a week, or do you go into OSA like at the end of the day, or do you go there right after this meeting? Then you go straight over to Kirsten and you start talking to her. And Sterling and Claire are like, what are you doing? Like,
I literally have never seen somebody like their brain start backfiring in real life ever. I was like, Mark, what are you doing?
Yeah,
but
Daniel.
On the other hand, I'm like, I can't deny that the timing of it is irrevocably bad news.
Yeah, Daniel blue screened right in front of us. He was just like,
he did.
He literally like could not, like he short circuited and he couldn't say anything. And then I was like, yeah, that's a bummer, dude. You just got smoked out. I said, in your first trip, you got smoked out. And, okay, now this is the best part though. So he leaves. I'm like, dude, tell OSA, shine it. I don't need to hear from them. They don't need to hear from me. Yeah. We're doing our own thing. They're doing their thing. Anyway, I found the OSA doc in the files of where he got back. And there's days and days of back and forth on how did Daniel get smoked out in like 45 minutes in. Like, how is that possible? Like, who did he talk to after he went from OSA to come over to the house? Who did he talk to between then? It was a whole investigation. And I was literally just messing with him just to see what would happen. And it was like a 1 in a million chance that I would have asked him that. And it just happened to be like 100% true. Anyway, but he was going over to OSA and telling them everything about everybody, all way up until then. Yeah. That was his little, he was their little guy who would go around and gather up info. And that's how we would smoke people out. And to be fair, there was a lot of people that we were hanging out with, Amy included. There was a lot of people that were hanging out with us that weren't saying anything to anybody except for us. And so we got to thinking, like, the people that are speaking out, the people that are writing books, solid. The people that aren't and that are just kind of hanging,
prove yourself.
Exactly.
And then it was like, why do I have a hate site, but these three people that hang out and do all the same stuff, they don't have hate sites? And you go like, oh, because they work for OSA. That's why they have hate sites.
Or until proven otherwise, we're just like, would be kind of like, if it doesn't, they didn't.
I told that story to Claire last week. My last conversation, because I went to after all this happened, Nathan actually went to this is the first time this I think has ever happened in the history of Sea Org. Barbara left the Sea Org to just stay with Nathan for 3 years. She lived in the same apartment as him, got a job at a grocery store, and just lived with him. And I would call him and say, hey, she's just there to keep an eye on you. And he'd be like, no, it's not the case. I've said it's absolutely the case. Why else? I mean, she loves you. I get that, but why else is she sleeping in the same apartment as you and got a job in New York? And you wouldn't believe it at all. And then finally came back from New York, moved to LA, started doing his own thing. And that's when I went to Saudi Arabia and got, kind of disappeared for a little bit. But no, that whole, Daniel showed up later on too. We did a whitewater rafting trip to West Virginia. Justin, myself, Mike Norton, and this is when Mike Rinder was living in Virginia with Ronnie and Biddy. So we go out for this thing, and Justin's probably going to call me after this and yell at me. But I say that everything. But I believe that through Justin, Daniel invited himself to this thing. He showed up in West Virginia all of a sudden. And then we have a barbecue out at my aunt's house, and Marty Rathbun's there, Mike Rinder's there, everyone's there, and Daniel's there, just walking around talking to everyone. I was like, and because I remembered this story, I remember Mark telling me that. I'm like, man, this guy, he's got to be a spy. How else? Because I hadn't seen him in forever. Well, how did he just show up? But yeah, no, he was.
That's crazy.
He's gonna deny it. I know that, and I've had the argument with Justin about it, but he is, and that's actually who they sent me to live with, or who I was living with when I first left, was Daniel Christian.
Yeah, that's why I knew he was a spy, because they always put them whoever they pair you up with, that's your spy.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Adam Parcell, Wolfie Frank.
For full disclosure, my first 2 or 3 months out, they tried to get me in session. I said no, but Kristen would call me for updates, and I would tell her what Daniel was doing. I would say, she would say, you know what, Daniel needs to come up and get a section. I said, well, he probably can't because he drank last night. We all drank last night. She's like, what? And I said, yeah. Anyways, and I'm sure they're in the files, but yeah, for like 2 or 3 months, I was talking to him, and then I was like, you know what? They tried to get me in session. I'm like, guys, I can't. You're controlling. I can't do the control part of it, and it's the same reason why Foster doesn't talk to me. And the last time I had a confrontation with him, he wanted me to get rid of you, Mark, and Claire from my Instagram and Facebook. And I said, I won't do it. Like, no, those are my friends. They gave me a job. I'm like, I can't. That's the point when I decided I'm done with it. We're either going to have a real relationship or we're not. And if you're choosing to disconnect from me, that's whatever. And they were assuming I was doing bad stuff, but I was living in Saudi Arabia. What could I possibly be doing to Scientology in Saudi Arabia?
Right.
So it was a whole crazy thing.
Is Foster still in the Sea Org, or is he out now?
He's still in the Sea Org. He is. He's
still in there, but he's not with Barbara. Obviously, she moved to New York, right?
No, she came back. So that's a whole story. And she came back. Broke her leg. Yeah, she's living the nightmare. She left, had a normal life, and then went back. Had a normal life for 3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
There's a whole circumstances as to why she eventually went back. I don't know all the details. Nathan told me the story, but I believe she broke her leg and had no way to take care of that. She didn't have the money to do it. So they said, come on back and we'll help you take care of that. And then,
Oh my gosh. That's awful.
Or something down in Pack. I don't even, did you know Barbara well, Amy, or not?
Yeah. I absolutely knew her for years. Many
was
years.
SCI for a while. I think she got removed from that when the first Golden Age Tech came around.
SCI is Services Executive
International. I knew Foster better than Barbara.
Yeah.
I worked with Foster for years.
I think go ahead.
You get the fast movement A to B type of thing from him, I think.
Many other things. Possibly yes. But I think I was a little better under control because later on he was pretty frantic about a lot of stuff.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wasn't Barbara in Qual in the staff training counseling area for a while?
She might have been SSO, I think, for a while. Yes. Or maybe I'm mixing her up with
staff. The staff section officer, which is like the person that is in charge of the counseling and training for the crew.
Yeah, I remember her from there.
We need to have a keyboard with all the terms and pre-recorded Mark's voice so that when anyone uses one, we can go MEI, marketing exec.
IMDR,
I know, but when we get together, we snap right back into the nomenclature. And a lot of times people will say, I do see it in the comments.
Yeah.
That some people are like, I got lost a little bit in there because you guys were just like, and then you went to the HGB, and then I was down over at the SSO office, and then I had to go over to MEC, and then I had to take the run, and then we went down to the HGB again, and you're just like, what are they doing? Like,
no, and I appreciate it. I always forget I'm talking to friends, but there's also other people listening, and that's hard to. Well, the other thing to get used to.
Yeah, and the other thing is on YouTube, you have to assume that everybody watching, this is the first time they've watched us, and this is the first time they're seeing our channel. So I try to kind of err on the side of being informational, even though I do it sometimes and I kind of forget or I lose track too. So,
well, Amy, I wanted to say, and hopefully this doesn't embarrass you, but I don't know if you knew this when you were there, but there was my age group, Justin's, Mike Norton, Mike Brown, and I don't want to speak for them, but I'm 90% sure we all thought we all had crushes on you. at some point for sure. Absolutely 100%.
I was an older woman.
Oh my gosh, Amy, you were not that much older than we were.
Yeah, you were not.
Oh, I felt like I was. That's for sure.
Oh my goodness.
I already lived like 9 lives before, I got up there practically with 2 RPFs and whatever else.
But how old were you when how old were you in 1990 at the base, Amy?
Oh, I don't know. I was born in 63. So what would that make it?
So you were like in your 20s.
So she was only 11 years older than me or something.
Yeah,
right?
she was in her 20s when we were. Yeah. So yeah, you were like, I mean, you're only a few years older than I was, Amy.
But anyway, you guys are all so sweet. Yeah.
I didn't want to make things awkward, but sorry, I just had to tell that.
Yeah. I don't want to make things
all right.
awkward.
I was accused of that all the time. Believe me, I got
It happened
because it would come up in different people's things, and I was always, what did I do to cause that? And I'm like, smile? Maybe I smiled. Maybe I said hi. I don't know. Like, man, oh man, it was torture.
I didn't know Dave. I had actually, because I'd never seen you interact with Dave, and I was even talking to Biddy the other day, and she was saying, yeah, like it was a known thing. Dave had it out for you for some reason, and I didn't know that, but. When I read your book and heard the stories, I'm like that is the best description of his twisted mind is how he spoke to you.
I mean, he took one thing like out of a session that was distorted because you can't get out of the room unless you say something, and then went around telling people at the base. He coined it as like a term, and then said, "Guess what, Amy? You're popular around the whole base." He's just a complete, total sadistic asshole. 100%. Oh my God.
There were many a meeting where he would divulge somebody's interrogation that had happened hours or days before. And that's how he would, that was sort of his warm up for the meeting. Like he would show up late. We'd all have been there for anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours waiting for him. And then when he'd get there, he'd be like, "So did you guys hear what happened with Bill?" And you're like, "Oh boy, I didn't, but I know we're going to find out what happened right now." And he'd be like, "He did this and he did this. And you remember that girl I said he was doing stuff with? Yeah, he did some stuff with her." And you're just like, "Oh boy, glad it's not me today. Glad it's not me."
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would have to walk into these meetings. You know how the meetings are with Dave, right? Walk into these meetings because I was being, I was in an interview to find my crimes while he was meeting with the Watchdog Committee, and I had to come out in the middle of it and walk into the middle of the meeting, which then everything has to stop, and now you're the center of attention. And then he goes on and on and on about how it looked like I had a cricket bat shoved up my ass and like all this stuff, just literally 10 minutes of just total abuse like this, And finally I said, "Hard times, sir." What do you say?
Yeah.
Like, can we get on with this meeting? Yeah,
that's the best part when he has the pause where you're supposed to answer the question, and you're like, "There's not a winning scenario here."
Yeah,
you cannot. It's like that test from Star Trek. You cannot get there. You cannot answer it right. There's nothing you can do. If you're too happy, you're wrong. If you're in the middle, you're blank face. If you're angry, you reacted. There's no winning.
Yeah. Pie face.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, right there.
And I've never met anyone like him before or after. I mean, he's a unique brand, man. I tell you, like, when you're talking to him, his mind is just calculating how he's going to get you, how he's going to catch you on something, how he's going to bring up something that he knows that you don't know, how he's going to do something that's going to get you. And it's just so bad. 18 years I had to spend with that crap. And by the way, tell your mom to call me.
I will. Absolutely will.
I love her.
Yesterday, she was like, because
Really?
she worked in CC with you, right? Go.
Yeah. I worked with your mom for years and years. I love
Celebrity
her.
Center.
And I have never known her contact. And I never tried to find out, but it'd be nice now that I see you and you remind me of her. You should tell her.
It's unfortunate got me in trouble with Dave. I think I reminded him of her as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you told me after I had left, you told me the great story about, because I told you about the confrontation I had with Dave as I was getting sec checked and as I was trying to leave, and he asked me if I was sorry. And then, Lou,
it was the best. It was the best.
What?
We want to hear. We want to hear.
Tell a story. You please.
No, you tell it. It's your story. You were there.
You tell what happened after, because that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to leave. And I had been getting, I think, the truth rundown and the happiness rundown. And, I was being audited by Pat Bromley, who's actually kind of a sweet lady.
She is nice.
Yeah. And so for one examination, we would run across the second floor of the main building over into one of the wings that was being renovated. And
this is in Los Angeles, a big Sea Org, big blue building in Hollywood.
Pat was down in LA, huh?
Yeah. And so I run in there. And I open the doors, and then there's Dave, and he turns around, looks at me, and I think Boswell, the security guard's there. He turns around, looks at me. It's like you're all of a sudden the center of attention, as like when you walk into a meeting. And he looks at me and he goes, are you sorry? And I looked at him. I said, yeah, I guess. And then I see Lou in the background going, say you're sorry. I'm like, he goes, do you mean it? And I said, and I right in very instant, I thought, my wife was cheating on me. I got screwed on that. I knew, and I'd said something about that. No one believed me. I got, jacked up on my job for something I didn't do. And I was like, no, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not sorry. And he,
you did,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. So
Bravo.
I'm not sorry.
Nice.
Yeah. and you know what? Right at that point, nothing matters anymore.
Nope.
I was done. Yep. I was like, good.
Yep.
Okay, good. And he actually turned around and then just stormed out. Move forward for 3 or 4 years. I'm hanging with Mark and Claire, and I tell Mark that story. And then he tells me what happened after, because the repercussions were felt, up at Gold and in later on. And it always makes me laugh so hard anyways, go ahead. Over to you.
And what year was this, by the way? What year?
Oh, it had to be 2003, 2004, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. I was on the Flag RPF by this time. So what happened?
I didn't know where you'd gone. You disappeared. You're one of the people that once just where'd they go?
I'll tell you that story after this.
Okay, so David Miscavige has that little interaction with Sterling, and then he comes back to the property. And we have one of our meetings. And again, like to get the meeting started, it's usually the dirt. It's always, that's how he kind of, I didn't even realize that until just now, because when we would get there, he would sort of tell you the carnage from either a previous meeting or a previous thing that had happened, and then somebody got in trouble, and then that person got carted off and investigated, interrogated on the e-meter, and then as soon as they were done, they would come to Dave, or he would be watching it live while they were interrogating that person. He'd be watching it because all the interrogation rooms have cameras in them, so you can watch it while it's happening.
Yep.
And he would then get the dirt, and then the next meeting would start with, oh, I just came from blah, and this is what happened. So he gets back to the base. He's like, I was in LA yesterday. And we're like, okay. And we're like, here we go. Here it is. And he goes, you will never guess who I ran into. And we're like, you're right. There's a lot of people you could run into. And he says, I ran into Sterling Tompkins. And we're like, oh, this is going to be good. And he goes, you know what I asked him? I asked him if he was sorry. And you know what he told me? He told me no. And we were like, oh, no? We were like, oh, that's not the right answer. Anyway, but then it was basically like, you're never going to see that guy ever again. You're never going to see him ever again. But it was one of those things where people at the base were like, good job, Sterling.
Yeah, exactly.
Sterling's
somebody who says
that's a cock heavy move right there, telling Dave, no, I'm not sorry, dude. No, I'm not. Come on. Yeah. Seriously, why would I be?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Good on you.
Anyway, yes, he was so mad. And he
referred to me as snot-nosed little punk. For like a week straight, you told me back in the day.
But it was one of those things where, like, we would be doing something days later, and he would be like, "Can you believe that kid?" Like it was like the conversation was still going. Like you're like that kid. You're like, "Oh, Sterling, you He's still talking about it.
It just shocked him. It shocked him that you were able to say, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
People usually just like, drool and try to kiss his shoes and act like that. I got to a point where I was not fazed by all the draconian stuff that he was throwing my way. He made me pay like $5,000 for somebody didn't pay their rent in Tampa, and I wasn't even on Scientology sector anymore, and he made me pay that. Wow. So I just went and collected it from Wendell and Mark Yeager and all these different people to pay it. And then all of these different organizations needed to be evaluated and stuff like that, and I just didn't do it. And then somebody says, you better start groveling and start doing this, and I said, I'm not going to. And so they did a fitness board, quote unquote, that RPF'd me, which is just like a totally non-standard thing because I was disaffected and I wasn't having it anymore. And I was actually planning my escape at that time. And anyway, so they sent me to he wanted to know if I wanted to go to if I liked LA or something like that. I said, yeah. And he says, good, you're going to Florida. The RPF in Florida.
There's no end to it.
Yeah,
really
and it's always trick questions on trick questions on trick questions too.
Yeah. So I was sent to the RPF in Florida, and I was there for 2 years before Matt helped me escape. So, yep, and of course the RPF's RPF because I told somebody that Dave beat people.
Oh, you did.
Well, wow. I was supposed to be doing my program, and yeah, that kind of affected me because I saw it more than a dozen times. Right. And he's a total asshole. And so it came up in one of my sessions or something. And but the person who was my case supervisor had never been to the Int base. And she even came and physically saw me and she goes, you need to write a KR.
Awesome.
I said, oh yeah. Yeah. So I got sent to the RPF. But anyway, I finally escaped from that.
They don't think about that. That's what's funny to me is like, they're not smart enough to go, wait a second. If we send Amy down, she's seen all this. She knows the stats have been going down forever. She's seen Dave do these. What do you think's going to happen?
I know, but I'm so glad that I did because right after I left that property, they locked the doors on the hole. And I would still be there today. Yeah. I literally would still be there today if I didn't get off that property right exactly when I did.
Yeah.
No,
thank
congrats
God.
to you. That's amazing. Oh yeah. I told them if they sent me to LA, and which they did, send me to LA, I'm out. Like there was no question. I was not. That was it. Just once you get me away from that property, I'm going to leave no matter what. And so I stuck to my guns on that one. And I actually got declared. I actually got declared for going to a baseball game on the 4th of July.
Really?
That was what they put in my declare. Yeah, he never won. I think the exact phrasing was he never wanted to really be in this. He never really wanted to be here, and he was just here for his own benefit. I'm like, my own benefit.
Oh, give me a break.
But I had blown. But then they listed that I blew to a baseball game because while I was waiting to leave, I walked up Sunset. Justin lent me some money. Walked up Sunset. Went to a 4th of July baseball game. Angels and Dodgers. Sat on the field for fireworks, and I came back, but I was sunburned. Like up and down, and came back, and that's why. That's eventually. It was 2 days later they declared me and sent me away. Yeah,
unbelievable. Do you still have a copy of your declare, Sterling?
No, I never.
No,
I do.
No.
I have mine and I have Matt's. Yeah, we're like rare commodities because they stopped giving them out after that. But mine's even on goldenrod.
What? I have a laminator. I can laminate that for you so it stays good forever if you need to.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I love laminating stuff. It's like
or you could just go to FedEx office right down the corner.
Send it to me. I'll laminate it. Send it back to you.
It says so many great things in there too. It says blah blah blah, lie, exaggeration, fabrication.
There you go.
That's what it says.
Yeah, we got ours too, and I love showing them. I think I think we read ours in one of the early spy files, babe.
Maybe, yeah. I always remember Mark always says that. So I was the one that was very rarely in trouble. I never did the rehabilitation project force. I did get in trouble plenty of times, especially when Marty escaped. And I was his junior. I got in big trouble. You always got in trouble for what somebody else did.
That's what you were in trouble for.
And
never
you
for
were
what
constantly
you did.
reporting on Mark, you didn't get in much trouble because he was taking the brunt of everything. Oh, I've obviously been watching all these channels.
My favorite subject has arisen. Wonderful.
Sorry.
But no, it's okay. It's okay. But then, so when we got our declares, Mark's was like, oh, he didn't pay $200 of eBay fees. And then it was like, Claire is the wicked witch of the West. She
it's
destroyed.
The best. It's the
it was
best.
just like, and he was like, wow, look at you all badass and all that.
I was like, I'm even chump change in the SP declares. Like, I'm like a lightweight suppressive, and you're like King Kong of suppressives. I was like, man, Claire, what a baller.
Yeah, they mailed yours in, man. They spent a week on hers.
But then when in the hate videos, they make it out like I corrupted her in the hate videos. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm the bad guy now. Read the declares. She sabotaged Scientology technology internationally.
Internationally.
Like,
wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
It was amazing.
How I would do that, I have no idea. I know what they're talking about. It's just so twisted. I was following orders from Shelley Miscavige. That's what they
Of course.
took.
Of course.
Yeah.
I feel like a complete peon because I literally went to a baseball game on the 4th of July. The most American thing you can do. Have a hot dog, watch fireworks, and that's why I was declared.
Yeah, and you were literally just doing nothing while they processed you to get kicked out. So it wasn't like you had a job to do, or you're just sitting around waiting for somebody to interrogate you. It's kind of like,
it's just ridiculous.
Go catch a game, go catch a movie. That's that's so funny because I've heard that from other people that when they were having to go in and get interrogated and stuff like that, they could still walk around and do stuff. So they would just go to the movies or go, even. Didn't Shane, our friend Shane, do that? He went and walked to a movie in Hemet.
I think he did.
And came back. He literally escaped from the property, went and saw a movie in Hemet, and walked back to the property.
My favorite story ever, though, was the guy that was the security guard at the HGB. And he would go to study time. They would do the roll call like, yep, I'm here. And he would leave and go to a movie. And then come back.
Yes. I think I know what you're talking about.
Was that his study time?
and it never even came up. He just got away with it for months.
Never came up.
Yeah.
He was telling us, and we were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're doing what?
It's unbelievable what different people end up doing. It's actually.
Right. I was locked down for 2 months. They under guard 24 hours a day, intensive security checks, rice and beans for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Meantime, Matt, he negotiated with the security people that he gets regular food. Okay. This only came up recently, and I found out I've been saying for 18 years that Matt and I were fed only rice and beans for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He goes, well, I actually didn't.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Oh yeah. Matt, I work with Matt to, full disclosure. I work with Matt every once in a while for a few weeks at a time. And Matt I would say he has endless amounts of amazing stories that he doesn't even think are a big deal. He'll just start telling the story and he'll be like, so we used to go play poker on this yacht on the weekends. And I'm like, what? And he goes, this person wanted me to watch their yacht. So I'd go over there and I'd take care of it. We made it, kind of keep it up. But he's like, but we did use it a lot.
What about when he shredded his ethics file? I've never heard of someone doing that before.
Because he got a Sterling, check this out. He got a power mission on something, right? And when you get a power mission, your ethics folder is supposed to be cleared. You get a highly commended, you get a bonus, and your ethics folder gets cleared, right?
Yeah.
So, and a condition of power or something like that. Anyway, so he got none of that. So what did he do? Oh, and you're supposed to get a dirk and stuff, all this stuff when you get a power mission. So what did he do? He went into uniform exchange and took a dirk. So he had one of those. Then he broke the lock in the personnel department and got his ethics folder. He went down to where the gigantic shredding machine is. Remember where that was? On the int base, right? And he went over there and took every single thing in his ethics folder and shredded the entire thing, including the folder. So done. Now he's the only thing he didn't get was a bonus, I guess. But boy, he cleared his folder.
That's so awesome.
What I'd really like to know is how long did it take him in the shredding room to shred the folder?
Right.
You know, he's so funny. Whenever he would get a report written on him in his in basket, he said he would see it in his in basket and it would go right into the shredder. You know, me, I'm totally different. I was always like trying to figure out what my out ethics situation was or whatever.
And that's always so interesting to me how it just worked out that way, right? You have your goody two shoes, you got your Marc Headleys that can bend the rules perfectly so that no one noticed they were bent ever. Right. And then you had like the in-betweens that are kind of careful. And it's always just funny to me how you have those different personalities. I mean, I think Matt talked about they used to drink beer after Renos on Saturday.
I know. Matt would take off to go fishing all the time. I mean, he did all kinds of stuff. And I was like, how did you get away with this stuff?
I know.
You know,
if you don't actually care, that's the trick. If you don't actually care, you can get away with almost anything.
Yep. And it never came up in any of his ethics interviews because he didn't consider it to be an overt,
Nice.
So
Sterling, what time do we have you until for tonight? Just so we don't lose track of that.
10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
I got to head down to the beach for volleyball.
Okay, awesome. Well, maybe we should just tell our guests here, if you have questions for Sterling specifically, put them in the comments now. I'll go through so we can.
Because there are questions for him already in here. Do you want me to start pulling some of these up?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So
we're going to have to do this again, by the way, because this was not enough time.
Mark, you're popping out. Okay.
Bye,
awesome.
Mark.
Yes,
Bye,
we'll definitely do it again. Yes. So we'll do some questions for Sterling and then, awesome. Perfect.
Okay. So.
And I'll read them. Michelle Carpenter, note to self, add Sterling's channel to Discord notifications. Great panel tonight. Question: what's one superpower each of you have gained from being an SP?
I'm gonna let you guys go first. I have to think about that one.
I would say a superpower I've gained from being an SP is no longer granting any power whatsoever to anything Scientology says, any of their labels, anything, but just enjoying every single day as I wish to. That's my superpower.
That's fantastic.
Well, now that I'm out of the Scientology bubble, I learned and got a superpower of being kind to people.
Wow.
Caring, learning about people, loving people, being kind, and because you never had the time of day for anyone in the Sea Org.
Right.
I didn't even, I couldn't even tell. Look, I was married to, I guess he's your uncle.
I know. We didn't even start talking. Yeah.
I know. I was married to Jim Mortland for about 17 years, and I literally saw his mom for like an hour or something one time in 17 years. And I couldn't tell you the first thing, I mean, it's like that. And so I make it a point to know people and to be kind, because that's really not what we did in the Sea Org.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I would say that I always look at the best part of everybody. So I know everyone's going to have their faults and the things that annoy you and the things but I always try to look at and pump up or relate to what's best in everybody, because I think everyone has great qualities, and you didn't do that there a whole lot. And so I love what's best in people, because everyone has something that's wonderful about them.
That's awesome.
I love it. Good. Okay. So some of these are other things, and I want to specifically find ones for Sterling, sorry, because I know that there's a bunch of them. Oh,
yeah, that's okay. Here we go. All right, Maisie Barnett. Question: Sterling, did the buses smell bad?
No, I was in the front driving them, but I would say no, they didn't smell bad. I'd have to say that, yeah. Maybe on a Saturday Renos they did a little bit, but otherwise,
well, yeah.
On the way home at the end of the night.
Yes, because they would get white gloved, like cleaned within like very thoroughly on a regular basis too.
They were
right?
really clean buses.
Yeah.
Good question.
All right, Free Xenu Project. Sterling, you have to remember Dave Puppet Boy Boss Baby is 413, but he's got 3-inch hair plugs. There you go. Mystery solved.
That answers the question. That exactly.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's why Taylor wouldn't know that, because they don't handle hair. So.
That's right.
There you go. Maisie Barnett again. Question, Sterling, do you have any good memories with your uncle? It's okay if the answer is no, but no pressure.
That's hard. It's hard to answer that one. Yeah, there was times where he was kind to me, so there would be some good memories. I don't think it's worth covering them because it was really just a cordial greeting type thing. But was there any? Did I play catch with him? Did I play football with him? Did I sit next to him in a movie? Or no, there was no any sort of real relationship or fond memories I can look back at that were, worth describing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Interesting question, though.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I like this.
Linda Bedwell, Sterling is an excellent addition to SPTV. Yes, indeed. So
thank you.
To more than the 1,500 and some people in the chat, don't forget to head over to Sterling's channel, Leaving Scientology, Loving Life, and subscribe. And yes, thank you for doing that.
Here's the banner.
There we go.
That's really cool. I love you can pop it up like that. That's nice.
Yes.
Amy is the queen of graphics over here.
Yeah, it's so good. I really love the background. It looks so nice.
Yeah.
It really does.
All right. Wonder Woman in the house. Sterling, question. What were your thoughts when veteran members blew and you were still there?
That's a fantastic question. So a lot of the veteran people that left or blew while I was there were people that I had some sort of relationship with. So Dan Kuhn, Jeff Hawkins, and I knew them, and I'm just going to bring those two up first. And I knew them very, very well because I worked with them for years, and I couldn't quite put into words or understand why that was the case or how it could happen. And it was just always one more little, chink in the chain as far as, like, wait a second, but I know that person, or he worked for L. Ron Hubbard, or he worked in the Dynetics campaign in the 80s, and these were all successful. And I've talked to them, and I know that they're level-headed, and I know that they really want to do a good job, and they're trying hard, and there's no part of them that comes across as evil or nasty. So I couldn't make sense with that. But I also acutely knew that every time that happened, Dave was doing it. And that began to wear down and show his character and how he treated people that I personally thought were valuable to that organization. So
that makes sense, which reminds me of a question. Did you leave before or after Ronnie and Biddy?
After.
So yep. What was that like for you, having them leave?
I wasn't told.
Wow.
I wasn't told. And then
were you in LA?
No, I was in where was I? I was in CMU. I was in PDO, I think.
You were in base and you weren't even told?
No.
You're on the same property and you weren't even told? I'm in complete shock right now.
No, I got SEC checked.
Assholes are assholes.
No, and of course they pulled me in and they just started asking me about her, and I didn't understand why. They did, and then I think at that point, and that must have been like 2 or 3 months later, they told me, or they didn't really mention it, but I figured it out. 2 or 3 months
later.
Yeah.
It's
I
your
don't
mom.
think they told me. I think they just asked me the questions, and then I kind of figured it out. I think I asked the question in session: "Is she even around now, or what happened?" And they're like, "Oh no, she's."
This is your mom. Wow.
Did they ask you about gold coins?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I remember Jenna commenting about the gold coins, and the part that I knew from where I was at the time is at least the pieces that I was told. And of course, no one's ever given the complete picture.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that all of Ronnie and Biddy's belongings were put into a storage unit, and somebody stole from the storage unit. And that's why they were interrogating Jenna, of all people. Like,
wow, really?
She had no access to that. She had nothing to do with it, and yet that's who they were targeting.
Yeah, that's
know who did it, right?
No,
who did
I don't remember.
It was a mix. It was security guards. Security guards almost stole everything when somebody blew. They'd go through their stuff because they were the only ones.
Right?
They were the only ones who knew that person had escaped. So they'd pick through their stuff and they'd pick out all the good stuff. But all of Biddy and Ronnie's stuff got put in a storage, like a roll-off, a storage container at the Kirby Gardens. And a bunch of the kids that weren't part of the Sea Org, or they weren't part of Scientology, like the manager of the apartment buildings had a bunch of kids, and those kids would just play all day long. and they broke into the storage unit because it wasn't properly locked up, and they just went through it and took whatever they want. Those same kids also stole about $1,000 worth of rare Depeche Mode stickers from a suitcase that I had in our storage unit at our birthing. Wow. And people started kind of giving me a hard time, like, hey, not cool, dude. Don't mess with my car. And I was always like, what are they talking about? And finally, Steve, I think it was Steve Hall, was like, dude, why'd you stick a sticker on my car? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I know it was you. And I'm like, how could you possibly know that I stuck a sticker on your car? He goes, because it was a Depeche Mode sticker. And I was like, wait a minute. No, it wasn't. And he goes, yeah, somebody stuck a Depeche. And I was like, oh no. And I couldn't get home. I was restricted to the property. By the time I got back to the birthing where the storage unit was, they had stuck all of my stickers on all of the cars in the parking lot of Kirby that were like the derelict cars that are like have flat tires and, you know, that staff don't have money to fix up their cars. So
unbelievable. Yeah. Did you hear Sterling say that Scientology didn't tell him about Ronnie and Biddy for like months?
Well, they didn't tell
after they left.
No,
yeah, they didn't. No, but they didn't tell Barney that Suzette wasn't at the property for a year, and she was in the real world, and he was also in the real world, and they didn't tell him. He was calling the property and saying, "Can I talk to Suzette?" And they're like, "Oh, we can't find her right now. Call back tomorrow." And then she's literally hadn't been there for 6 months.
Well, that's what we have to talk about next time, Amy. Is your relationship with Suzette, and I believe your leniency and so you were kind because you did let her come up to you did not have to. There was no demand.
It's because husbands and wives should be together, and you should find out if your mom is leaving the Sea Org.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just it's family matters. It's crazy.
And she was the last one there at that point too. So Foster and Barbara had already been sent down to PAC. So she was my last family member that was there. Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable.
Where was Jenna?
She was either in Australia or somewhere else. So I was the last man standing from that family. Yeah.
And I'm sure that's why Dave had it out for you, just as a side comment. But either way, Sterling, it's been amazing having you on. We'll let you go because you've got your thing to go to, but we absolutely appreciate. We'll definitely be doing lots of content with you, we hope. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Good to see you, Mark.
Absolutely.
Good to see you, dude.
Wonderful. See you later.
Lots of love to you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. That was Sterling
Mark,
for tonight.
You get to stay, Mark.
Oh, good. Thank you. I promise I won't ball hog. I'll let you guys do talking.
Oh, that's okay.
We're good. We love listening to your stories. Whoever doesn't, they can just go somewhere else. It's free content, so move along.
What I wanted to do is for the questions that are already starred, I want to go through them before we do the weekend review, because some of them were in response to like things that Mark was saying and things like that. So
perfect.
Okay. So I'll just start at the top and go through, okay? Because there's about 20 or so.
Perfect. Antonino G. I remember back in the day reading the Toronto Sun and seeing a Scientology ad that said people wanted low pay, great future, LOL. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's an L. Ron Hubbard thing that you're supposed to say low pay, good future. Yeah. That's L. Ron Hubbard. So that's why they wrote it like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
they stick to that low pay part really well.
Yeah, really. They nailed that part. Great future, not so much. They didn't nail that part at all. Tom Miller, super sticker. Thank you, Tom. And Rocky Mountain High DIY. We are getting a new Costco in Castle Rock. Can't wait. Okay, then. Demetra, what does it mean to be assigned condition of child?
It's just another punishment L. Ron Hubbard had for cadets. I mean, it literally was, if you were a cadet, I think kids above 6 or 7 could be cadets. And then you could be a cadet all the way up until you signed a Sea Org contract and became an official Sea Org member. But until that point, if you were a little kid and you signed a Sea Org contract, then they'd let you be a cadet. And then if you got in trouble, then you would be assigned a condition of child, which means basically you're like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. So
yeah,
it didn't matter. If you were 10, that was a big, I mean, if you're 10 and you get assigned child, that's you went 5, that's half your life taken away. Okay.
Like, did they have steps of what you had to do to get out of that condition?
I can't remember what the formula was. So for everybody who's not totally versed in Scientology, if you get assigned, there's a bunch of conditions. There's the conditions above liability, and then there's the conditions below liability, or below non-existence rather. And any condition below non-existence is what's referred to as a lower or lowered condition. And everything above non-existence is like, you know, in the way the way you kind of operate in Scientology is anything above non-existent is assigned a statistic. And if your statistic is up a certain amount, then it has to be assigned a certain condition, and whatever the condition is, there's a formula. And if you do the formula exactly as L. Ron Hubbard says, then you will rise to the next condition or further conditions up. And if you don't, then you will go into lower conditions. And if you get below non-existence, the formulas there's a lot of punishment steps and a lot of amends that you have to do as part of lowered conditions. And in the C organization, if you get assigned a lower condition, if you work in a Sea Org installation that has 27 people, then when you are getting out of what's called liability, that's the highest of the lowered conditions. When you're trying to get out of liability, you have to bring like a sort of a proposal around to everybody that is all of the steps that you did of your liability formula, and you have to prove to them that you're worthy of getting back in the group, and you have to get a majority. I think that's what the policy says. You have to get a majority of the group members to sign your formula and say, yes, you are allowed back in the group. And if you work with 30 people, then that would generally be 20 to 25 of those people you'd have to get approval from. Well,
and you'd have to go around during your meal time.
That's right. You can't do that work during your post work. You have to do that during your meal time. So
how many times did we do this crap?
So in Golden Era Productions, Golden Era Productions had 300 to 350 Sea Org members in it. So if you got assigned lower conditions, you would have to print out 350 copies of your formula, which you'd have to pay somebody to copy them for you. And, or that they'd have to be, and oh my God, we're going to go down a rabbit hole. And because there's an L. Ron Hubbard policy says that you're not allowed to make a carbon, like use a copier to make something more than 10. If it needs more than 10 copies, you cannot use a copy machine, because in the 1960s, copier technology was brand spanking new, and it cost a lot of money to own a copy machine and print out copies. So L. Ron Hubbard wrote a policy that says if you want to make more than 10 copies of something, you have to get it mimeoed. So they have to shoot a plate, and then they have to take the plate over to a printing press, and then they have to oil up the ink up the press. God. And so you have to pay the mimeo officer like $30 or $20, so he'll copy your formula. You can't do it with the organization's not going to pay for you to get out of liability.
That was Tom Pope in the mimeo thing.
That's right.
And you know he's out of the Sea Org now.
No.
He's out of the Sea Org, living in Washington State. Yep.
What? Oh, we got it. Yep. We got to check.
I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, I'll tell you all about it.
Wow, that's
crazy. Anyway, so you'd have to take those copies and you'd have to pass them out to everybody. And if David Miscavige had talked some smack about you, then usually those people will be like, hey, what about that thing that COB said you did? And did you figure that out?
I know.
And, yeah.
There was inevitably some ass that would write some stupid thing in the disapproved column.
That's right.
And you need that formula to give to other people. Now they're going to see their trashy comment.
That's right. So if you had a formula, that's true. That's a good point, Amy. If you had 300 formulas, you'd have to go through and you'd have to count up how many yeses you had on every formula, and every once in a while you'd get one that some a-hole had wrote a big long and it was always that person that always had it out for you, or that was just always he was
you
your
knew when you handed it
he was
to
your
him.
asshole. You know, everybody has a few assholes. He was your asshole. So you would be like, oh great, what did he of course it was him. You know, you're just like, great. And so then you'd have to take that one out of circulation. You'd be like, okay, I got to keep that one because everybody who sees it, because then people like to pile on at this place. So if somebody else sees that he said no and then wrote then a bunch of people just really like, yeah, no way, Headley, suck it, you know.
Especially if it was an executive that had it out for you.
Oh yeah.
Then oh man, yeah.
But if you had a bunch. And it went the other way too. If you had 10 yeses, people would just pile on the yes. I mean, it'd be like, it was very group think. So
it really was.
If somebody sees that somebody said bad, then everybody write bad. But anyway, so it was some people were always in trouble, and you might see their formula and then you would sign it. And then like 3 weeks later, you'd be like, oh, I already signed it. And they'd be like, no, this is a new one. And you're just like, oh, dude. And then so there'd be a lot of times you'd see there were frequent flyers in the liability department.
Yeah. And let's not forget that many of the times, like specifically with you, you would be restricted to the property, like not allowed to go home. And this was one of the steps, just one of many steps that you had to finish in order to even go home to your bed.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of creepy stuff is that? You know, it's so funny when you think about it now. It's just like, how creepy and sadistic and oppressive is that?
Yeah.
And when you're there, you're like, can't come home tonight. I'm restricted to the base. Okay, honey.
Yeah, and it would be like, I just got to get my formula signed. And Claire would be like, well, how many signatures do you have? And I'd be like, 27. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, you're screwed.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah, and so sometimes you'd have to pass them out every meal. You'd have to put them, and that's the other thing. And that's the... when you're passing out, when someone's passing out a formula, like, oh, great. Now we got to look at like, you're there to eat lunch. You're going to only be there for 5 minutes. And now we got to deal with Schmo over here. We got to sign his stupid formula. And then sometimes
but if you don't, because they're going to be in liability too. So they better sign that freaking thing because you're going to be in that boat.
That's exactly right. Amy, you know the game. You're like, oh yeah. So there were certain people would be, you'd get 200 no matter what in gold. It was always a numbers game. So you're like, and also this was at one time there was like, I can't remember what it was, but I had been assigned a condition and Gerald, he was the director of inspections reports. He's like the chief policeman of gold. And I go to him and I say, hey, I got 154. I got 150 yeses. And he goes, it's a majority. And I'm like, yeah, that's a majority. He's like, no, there's 300 people in gold. I'm like, quals in lower conditions, cineas in lower conditions. Right. I'm like, do the math, dude. That's a majority. And he was like, and I'm like, you want me to do the math for you? Now that's my job too. And he was just like, well, I'll look at it. And I'll be like, oh, no. I'm done. I'm going home. You can look at it all you want, but it was like one of those things where they would stick it to you extra, like if they could, because there might not even be 200 people that aren't in lower. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say that. If you are assigned a lower condition, then you're not allowed to sign yes on somebody's formula because you're in the bad too. So
you're not in the group. It has to be people in the group in good standing. So
that you're
if you have
trying
300
to rejoin.
Staff total, but only 200 of them are actually even qualified or allowed to approve you to go back in the group. So then the majority is 100.
Yeah, or whatever it was. But
it's
either way,
insane.
They would always. So the people that have to approve your formula after you get all the signatures, they could genuinely know that you only need 100, but they tell you a figure that's more than that just to make you grind. There might be 150 people that could sign it, and they say you need 175. And so you're never going to get 175, and they'll just let you grind as long as they want until you figure out, like, wait a minute, I've asked, because that's the other thing. It's like it was a numbers game. You would literally know who signed it and who didn't, because then you'd chase down those other people. Be like, hey, dude, I need you to sign my formula. List. You're like the last person that can sign it. And they're like, oh, great.
Yeah. And I think part of it too was security knew, at least if you were still restricted to the property, you're one less person they have to worry about escaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a question. So when you would get restricted to the base, Mark, where did you have to sleep?
For most of the time, I would sleep because I worked in the castle for a lot of that time, in this cinematography castle. Most of the time that I was restricted, that's where I worked, or I was over it. And so I would sleep above a hallway in one of the, I built the castle, so I know all the places you can go in there. And there was a hallway that if you ran really fast, you could jump onto the top of this wall, and then you could climb above the hallway. And I had a bed and an alarm clock, and I knew
there was going to be a story connected with that.
I even ran power. I put outlets up there. Because I knew where the junction. I was like, I can run a circuit. I'll grab and I had a little thing, and I had a pretty good setup. The worst part of that, though.
But I have a question. Is it true that you had a microwave up there at some point?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I did have. No, I don't think I had ever had that. So I was, for a lot of the time that I was restricted to the property.
How long?
Oh, there was times that I was there for 6 to 8 months, 12 months at a time. It's
not like a 3-day thing. That's why I wanted you to say it.
Oh yeah, no. There was,
like, when you're restricted, you're like restricted for a long time.
Well, there was a time where I was restricted, and in order to get unrestricted, you had to get out of lower conditions, but everyone in the whole organization was in lower conditions. So it was sort of a catch-22, and everybody knew that. So it was sort of like, I'm restricted, but there's no way for me to get unrestricted. So I'm just going to kind of just stick it out. And then usually it would be like, there'd be like an inspection, or I remember there was a time where Biddy, Sterling's, Sterling's mom was she was going to do an inspection, or something was going to happen. And I was like, oh, I better erase all traces of this thing, because that's the kind of thing, if they found that, it would be like, oh, that's a base somebody's living up here above the hallway. Like
base briefing right there.
Oh yeah. Yes, so
you would be called up to the front with the entire base.
Yeah,
they would photograph it, blow up pictures.
Yeah, they would take pictures. Yeah, they would do a whole photo shoot of my squatting setup, and they'd be like, "There's somebody who like." They'd be like, "I had a dress. I think I did have a dresser up there at one point. Like I was like, I might end up living up here. Like I've been here so long."
Oh my gosh!
But you couldn't. But I couldn't leave any traces of how to get up there. Like for a while, I would leave a ladder, like a sets ladder, just leave it behind the hallway, which was not really. It wasn't something that should have been there, but you could see like, oh, somebody was doing something and they left a ladder here. And then I would just climb up the ladder to get above the hallway. But then sometimes it would be like, hey, Mark, this is not we don't run a homeless encampment here. Tell your sets guys they left a ladder in the hallway or something like that. I'd be like, yes, sir. No problem, sir. I'd be like, oops. And so then I'd have to jump up there or I'd leave something, or I'd bring a trash can with me, put the trash can, and then jump up there. When I would jump back down, I'd take the trash can with me.
Okay. And then Claire, did you ever get restricted to the base?
I did. Yep. Several times. Where did I sleep? Most of the time, honestly, I would just end up catnapping at my desk. But after Mark escaped, I was put in the hole in the, the double wide trailers. It was already on lockdown by that time. And I slept in a sleeping bag on the floor of my office under my desk.
Wow. Yeah. I would get sent out to it's the swamp area. There's a swamp on the property, and it used to have rickety trailers and an old house there, which should have been condemned a long time ago, and it's not there anymore. But so you would get sent out to the swamp, and you would basically have a bunk bed in an ant infested place. And one time I could only stay out at OGH. I couldn't, it's called OGH, Old Gilman House. I could only stay out there. I couldn't come onto the actual property because my face couldn't be seen.
Oh my gosh.
And so they would bring food out there and I would eat it at this like lean-to shack where there were literally rats. And that's where I was eating and showering with Mark Yeager, who was at the same location as Mark Yeager, who was out there getting punished too.
We called him the Swamp Man because he'd been there for years.
Yeah.
He was so,
4 years, I think it was.
He was so tan that when he got reintroduced back onto the property, like a lot of people
recognize him.
A lot of people didn't even know who he was. They were like, "Who's that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Mark Yeager." Like, "Oh my God, I thought he was gone." He'd be like, "Nope, he's been at the swamp this whole time." He was they called him the Swamp Thing or the Swamp Man, I think is what they called him. And and David Miscavige would be like, "What's going on at the swamp?" You know, it'd be like, "Have you heard about Swamp Man?" Or, you know, it'd be like, "What's happening with the swamp creature?" And it was just like, who are they talking about? And then somebody was like, Mark
it was him. But anyway, that's where I got sent whenever I got restricted from the base to the base, is out at that stupid swamp.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious where you guys, so you went to the castle. That's a nice little
well, when
setup.
we
and you just didn't sleep.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yeah. But you remind me talking about where you were, Amy, of the isolation place, which was the most disgusting,
horrendous,
dirty, stinky. Like you'd walk in and it stank of CalMag, calcium and magnesium, and garlic. And dirt.
We were always made to take, everyone was made to take overdose on garlic when you got sick. And so it was, I can't stand that smell on somebody. I mean, like I will evacuate a building if I smell that smell.
What did they call that when they would mix, it was vinegar. They'd mix apple cider vinegar with CalMag.
Panther piss.
Yes, I hated the smell of that. I would be like, and that's what you would drink if you were on the RPF. They would make these giant vats of panther piss, and that's what you'd have to. That's all they had to drink. That's it.
Yeah. And it was because supposedly, because we're working in the desert, it supposedly had potassium and would replenish your potassium because you're sweating so bad and working around the clock in the middle of the desert, so you don't faint. Yeah. But anyway, you faint from that stuff.
Oh my gosh, so nasty, so nasty. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we do a giveaway now, and then we'll wrap up the last of our questions because we're almost at the 2-hour mark already. Holy moly!
Okay, so what would you like to give away?
I elect my hubby BFG to give away a signed book.
There it is. Do you see my little overlay there?
I know. Mark? Amy has such good stuff. She's got all these. She's all organized, and she has her questions, and she has her topics. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I'm all on it.
Yes,
I'm all over it.
Okay, so get in the comments and say book me or BFG, whatever you want to say, and you can pick one, right, honey?
Yeah, I can pick one. Let's get people a chance. They got to get up and they got to get over there and they got to do the thing and they got to type the thing and then they got to send the thing. And, okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sandy McKenna, book me, please.
Nice.
There you go, Sandy. Congratulations. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who tried to get something there, and thank you for everybody who sent us super chats and super stickers. We appreciate that.
Yes, very definitely. So Sandy, if you send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com with your address, I will get a book mailed off to you. Congratulations.
Wow, there's 1,500 people in here right now too.
Yes, nice. I know. This is awesome.
You guys pull some decent numbers over here in all things Scientology.
There you
Here's
go.
Another question for you, Mark.
Question: does the e-meter still look like the old version with the silver cans? Pretty much. I mean, I don't know how they missed this, but it really looks like an easy bake oven. One of those things you make brownies in when you're a kid. You just pour it in there and it kind of just warms them.
Yes.
It looks exactly like an easy bake oven. Like, no, it's
oh my God.
like
I love that.
I remembered an easy bake oven looked like, kind of like a small toaster oven. And then somebody sent me a picture of an easy bake oven. It's the exact same shape as an e-meter. Like it literally, the new e-meter looks like they copied the easy bake oven. So,
oh my God, I love it.
So yes, it does still have the silver cans. They make the cans. You used to be able to, in the old days, you used to be able to just use soup cans, or I think a lot of people used asparagus cans because they used to be long. And that sort of was the standard, asparagus or a certain kind of can, a big tall can. And now they make them special. I think they charge you a few $100 for a set of cans. They have all different sizes, all the way for little baby kid hands, all the way up to like, you know, Andre the Giant size hands. And yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
They also changed the cables, so you can't use soup cans anymore. Remember, it would just clip on to
alligator
the can.
clip.
Yeah, alligator clip on. Now it's like a different thing. All right, free Xenu project question. So, Mark, just like in grade school, the suck-ups sat up front. Oh, from the briefings and MCI. Yes,
that's right. That's exactly right. You know what? Claire was in the front row.
Claire was in the front row.
I own it. I was trying to be a good little Sea Org member. Free Xenu project. As a joke, we should trade their bus for a VW bus.
Yeah.
How many people can you fit in a VW bus?
It was like a clown. Yeah, any Sea Org bus was like a clown car. It would just pile. You could be like, wow, how many people they fit on this thing? And be like, yeah, we got 120 on here.
I know. That is how it was. It's so crazy.
Asses and elbows, baby. If you're on the bus, you're smelling some people today. You know, that's what's happening.
Yep. Crazy Nana, 1959. Question: did y'all really have to salute DM's dogs?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yep.
It's totally a real thing.
What was it? Jelly? What was the chief one?
Yeah. What happened
Jelly.
was, for me, what happened was David Miscavige was in the Watchdog Committee. Jelly, his dog, was there with him with commander stripes on a little outfit. And I walked in and she let out a little, you know, puppy bark. Very cute. I smiled and he said, you know, she sniffs out ethics, which means I've got crimes, you know. And I laughed and like, you know, how absurd is that? That is a great joke. And he's like, I'm serious. I didn't have to salute Jelly, but she sniffed out my out ethics. And also the other thing about Jelly is that when I worked in gold and I came back into CMO Int, I had to read these binders of all of David Miscavige's orders that had transpired since I was gone. And one of them was the Jelly Project. And I was like, what is this Jelly Project? What does Jelly mean? Oh, this is his dog. What's the Jelly Project? It was how to handle the ethics of all of the Int executives. The Jelly Project, because she sniffs out ethics. I mean,
and didn't he say that when she ran over the keyboard, what she wrote made more sense than anything that management had ever put together? And then do you remember too that he made an outfit for Jelly with the 4 commander stripes?
Oh yeah. That's what she was wearing when I giggled at her when I came into the room. You know, and he's like, you know, this is serious.
Unbelievable. Insanity. Yeah,
totally. Okay, so next one.
Vivian Booth. Question, Amy, why did they put you in the RPF so many times? I'm sure you were an amazing worker.
Yeah, I was an amazing worker. One time it was because whatever the e-meter was doing, apparently, you know, and then somebody wrote in my folder, opinion, she's thinking about LRH. So I supposedly had evil purposes against L. Ron Hubbard, and it was just a total fabrication. I had to do all my OT levels in the RPF. And so that was one of them. The last one was because I got a fitness board out of CMO Int because I was being really defiant and I wasn't in agreement anymore. I just wanted to leave. And so they sent me to the Rehabilitation Project Force in Florida. And that's where I escaped from 2 years after that. The first time was because I had sex with my husband before we got married when I was 16 years old. So we both got sent to the Rehabilitation Project Force, and he got reprieved. He's 10 years older than I am. He got reprieved and I had to stay on.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The 26-year-old got forgiven while the 16-year-old gets to carry out the punishment. That is just unbelievable.
There's a lot I could say about that.
Yeah. All righty. Lynn Rucker. All the SPTV hosts need hats like Aaron and Reese.
I don't know.
You're muted, honey.
I don't think I would wear that hat, honestly, myself. But yeah, that's okay. Some people would.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark Fisher in the house. Janice tells a story that L. Ron Hubbard had staff members who didn't stay in communication with their parents, a condition of child on the ship.
There you go.
There you go. Yep.
There you go. So I guess he broke his own rules when they were on the ship. And Janice might have even known where that thing came from, the child, because he probably wrote that when they were on the ship.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
I believe it, Mark. Thanks for that, Mark.
Yep. Maisie Barnett. Yeah. Question, Claire, who did the artwork behind you? That is my youngest son. He is a very talented artist. And that is a self-portrait he did in the style of Modigliani or Modigliano, whatever it is.
You should learn because you get asked every single video.
I know. And
you say the same thing.
You need a star rate checkout.
Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan.
Hey,
whatever.
Now, don't go there. Now, honey, it's okay. Anyway,
Amy, you let her go down that path. That one video where she said Saskatchewan, and I was like, is Amy just going to let that roll? She's not going to say anything.
I brought it up because I thought it was so funny.
The look on Amy's face when I said it was just something I will never forget. It was so funny. Anyway, that's my son. He's doing more artwork for me from my board, so I'm excited.
That's amazing.
Yes. Ray Lane. Love listening to you fun people share memories. Well, thank you, Ray. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, and we love to do that too. I always learn more. Hail Xenu.
Yes.
Queen Bee. Whoops. Which way? This way.
Oh, good.
Queen
I like
Bee
that.
SP.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Someone made this for me. Yep.
Nice.
Very nice.
You should put those in your store.
Really? I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I do have some really cool Queen Bee SP stuff in my store.
Nice.
Okay, here we go.
Free Xenu project. Question. Does anyone here remember anyone ever accidentally calling DM Captain to his face? Yeah, definitely not.
Definitely not.
No.
Didn't even enter anybody's mind to do that.
Yep. No, definitely not. COB. Free Xenu project. Public service announcement. If you need to have DM served, have them serve the papers to Tom Cruise. Also have them try Tom's agent. Okay,
I don't know about that. That's not a real thing. Do not do that.
Yeah, exactly. All righty. Cody Mack, what do you think will go through DM's mind once he realizes he won't be able to avoid a sworn deposition? He won't be able to bully a California jury.
Well, it depends on what case it is, because depending on what case it is, they can just write a check and it'll all go away. And that is usually what they do when it gets to the point where David Miscavige will have to be depositioned. They will write a check and that will be the end of it. I think the lawyers are counting on that. That is what's going to happen. I don't know how they get out of, I don't know how they get out of it otherwise. But if it's a case where they can pay damages and settle, then they'll settle. And I'm pretty sure that that's the strategy, is because he's never going to get deposed. That's never, ever going to happen. If he ends up getting deposed, they will write the check the day before he's going to be deposed. And that's how it'll end.
Yeah. Definitely.
Terry Hodgson, super sticker. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
Gary Jackson Moorhead in the house. Hello, you badass, beautiful people. Well, hello, Jackson.
Hi, Jackson.
Thanks for being here.
during this live, I forget what it was. What is? Oh, that security was going through the blown people stuff.
Yeah.
He needs to tell us about that. He needs to tell us about that.
He
Didn't
would
that come
know.
up in
He
their
would
sec
know.
checks?
Oh, he would know, because I know that when there was a time where I found in one of the houses that we lived in, I found some night vision goggles. And when I got in trouble for something, I was like, hey, what happened to my goggles? And Danny Dunnigan had them, one of the security guards. And I was like, I saw him with them. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm like, those are mine. He goes, no, they're not. I got these from Sublet. I'm like, yeah, I live in Sublet. That's why you got them from my house. And he's like, well, where'd you get them? And I was like, that doesn't matter. They're mine. I was like, you better give them back or I'm going to.
Danny's nickname, Danny Done It Again.
Yeah, Danny Done It Again. Because he punched, they got sued. He punched a protester one time.
Did he get sued? I saw the video of that.
Yeah, he got sued and the church got sued and they wrote that guy a check. The protester got paid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. He punched him. Wasn't he like dragging him down or something?
Oh, that's a different guy. He didn't. That guy went to jail. They lured him onto their property, but there wasn't a fence there. It was just the gates of the castle. So even though there was no fence, the property line was well past where the protesters were on the highway. And they had no trespassing rocks. Like it was just a piece of stone that said no trespassing. So you couldn't see it or it was covered up with dirt. And so they said, no, there's a sign back there. And they're like, I didn't see a sign. Well, yeah, it's because it's in the ground. It's covered up with dirt.
Stupid.
But and then that guy, his name was Anon Smurf was his name, Anonymous Smurf, and he got arrested.
Wow.
Anyway, Danny Dunnigan beat him up, and then Danny got bit by another protester. It was a whole scene back then.
Oh, boy. God.
Lisa in the Sky MU, never in, but I've been on a deep dive on Scientology, watching SPTV and up to season 2 of Aftermath. Much love and support to everyone speaking out. Amazing. Thank you. Casey Isaac in the house. Just showing some love for all of you. Amy is such a blessing. Keep on shining. Claire is absolutely Wonder Woman. Keep climbing those mountains. Mark is the master communicator. Keep on rocking. Thanks for being here. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Cassie. Free Xenu. Yes, Free Xenu Project. Does anyone know what happened to Mark Yeager? As far as I know, he's still in the hole.
He's still there. And then he's also done, he did a hate video against Marty live, like at the airport. Him and Jenny Linson and
Dave Bloomberg.
Dave Bloomberg.
They all ganged up on Marty in the airport. I think that video is still up on Marty's old blog,
it is.
too.
I saw that.
Or it's on YouTube.
Yeah. It's definitely on YouTube. If you search Jenny Linson on YouTube, it's like one of the top results. She's YouTube famous for being psychotic.
Jenny Linson. Oh, she looked so bad in that video too. Just angry and ugly. But I learned from you guys on one of our videos, one of my first videos that I did, that Mark Yeager actually blew the base and was rounded up and gotten back. That was shocked me. I never heard
1998.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
1998.
Almost all of those guys, once or twice, either thought about getting out of there or tried to get out of there. And that's why Dave Miscavige has signed resignations from all of them, undated.
Yep.
And they all have hate sites too. Not a lot of people know that. They registered hate sites for almost all those. Mark Yeager has them. Guillaume has them. Mark Ingber has them. Norman Starkey had them.
Is it to prevent us from making them, or is it in case?
I think it's to show them. Not only have we set up hate sites about those guys, but we already have yours ready to go too. So if you decide to escape, we've already got your sites. I guarantee you that's the sort of thing Dave would say. Like he would say, hey, register all these sites about the Headleys and Scobie and whoever. And then he probably, and get one on Mark Yeager and Norman Starkey and Guillaume. Get one on those guys as well, just in case. And then they're like, what? So check it out. Even the guys that are still there have hate domains.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yep. That is crazy. Okay, sorry, I got distracted here. Victoria Wise, all of your stories are so hellish, the kind of place you would go if you're Catholic and you commit a mortal sin. There you go. Oh yeah. So who is Mark Yeager has been taken.
Oh, no.
Just on GoDaddy.
Yeah, it's on one of the. I have a list of their sites.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
I know.
So we're not just know it's an actual statement of fact. Dawn and Yo. Thank you all. New to Amy's channel. Love you all. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being new to my channel too.
Yes. Monkey Shark. Love my Don't Be Cold t-shirt and thank you video. Awesome.
Nice.
Yes. We have Don't Be Culty merch on the spshop.com, the fourth wall. Randy Pearson, Mark and Claire and Amy and Matt's stories would make a great romance and action dramatic movie. Y'all have a director, Mitch. Love from This Never End. There we go. Nice. Yes. Excellent.
It's an idea.
Yes.
Boy, there's so much material, isn't there?
Yes,
tons.
Very definitely. Free Xenu Project. What about when DM gets deposed with Leah? I can't see her take money. Yep, we'll see what happens. I can't either, but we're at the very beginning of that. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Free Xenu Project. The RPF's RPF. What did Puppet Boy take lessons from Dean Vernon Wormer? It didn't work for the Delta Tau Chi fraternity either. Okay. Don't know what that means, but gave it my best shot. Jack, super sticker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Raynor Obara. I'm so fortunate. This is the first live that I've actually caught in time. I'm thrilled to be listening live once again. Thank all of you. Also, I'm listening from Tucson, Arizona. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And Liz Ferris in the house. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Liz. All righty. Bach Buddy. At Amy Scobie. Can't wait for the Little Dickies videos you and Matt plan. I think you'll go through a lot of tissues, wiping away laughing tears. Yes, absolutely.
Those are just for anybody who doesn't know. When we were under the radar, Matt wrote a series of little bedtime stories where it's a dad talking to his little son, giving him a little bedtime story. And we called it the Little Dicky series because it was about a certain person. And anyway, it was exposing everything we were learning from people as we were meeting up with old friends from behind the Iron Curtain. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of fun stories on that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I remember those posts.
Yes. I want to, do we want to do the week in review stuff? Because there's some fun things on there. Or should I give a book away?
Let's give a book away.
I'll stay.
You will?
Stay.
You will?
I'll
Okay.
stay.
Okay.
I'll stay. I know Claire is trying to wrap it up so that I won't, be like, oh, we were there for 70 hours. I'm fine. I'm good. I like listening to you guys. Yeah.
You guys, you can't complain, Mark.
No. I yap all the time, so I'll stick around and I'm
awesome,
I'm a good guest.
I'll
be here.
Good.
Thanks,
well, let
honey.
me throw up a few banners, which is if you are on my channel and not subscribed to Blown for Good, subscribe to Blown for Good at blownforgood. You can order your book, Blown for Good, at blownforgood.com. And you can also subscribe to both of our channels, which is at Queen BSP and Blown for Good.
Nice.
So if you're on Claire and Mark's channel, come over to my measly little channel and subscribe.
You're growing too, but we are 36 subscribers away from our next milestone book giveaway too, by the way.
Nice.
So
wow.
yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
And if you want a copy of my book, it's scobie-publishing.com. And then so now I'm going to go over here and we will go ahead and now I'm probably going to go ahead and do the week in review because I'm going to be giving away a couple books on that.
Nice.
So
sounds good.
We're going to go onto this. Are you guys ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, I like how that looks.
It is a week in review. Can you see it, Mark?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
I love it. I love all. I spied. I snuck into the studio earlier and I went through all the slides.
You did. It's been a surprise on.
Well, I didn't read every single one, but I looked and I was like, oh, she's got it together here. She's got a good little setup.
Stuff in here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, so here we go. I got 9,000 subscribers this week. Yay!
Nice.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, all 9,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And we keep trying to put out some really good content, and I just want to say that I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the comments that people make, and I'm just so happy to be helping people who have different situations than Scientology, but apparently giving our stories is really making a difference in your lives as well. And I just want you to know that I hear you, and I really, really appreciate you.
Awesome. Okay. Congratulations.
Yes. And then I've got on here, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's my Queen Bee and Blown for Good, because your next goal is you're almost at 40. What is it?
41,000 is what we're about to hit.
And then Claire said last week, Mark, that when I hit 10,000, that you two and me and Matt are going to do a live.
We'll
that's
do
a great idea.
Yes, a 10K party celebration.
Yes,
a live.
And
yes,
we really, really want to do that.
Awesome.
Okay. So Mark did 2 episodes this week on cults to consciousness with Shalise and Sola, and this is one of them. I love how Blown for Good.
Mm-hmm.
And
both of those turned out really good. I liked them.
Yeah,
I really
they were really good.
These. I want to see your first ones that you did. So this one says Scientology, when a coerced child joins a cult to survive. And then the next one was the dangerous lengths Scientology went to destroy Marc Headley. Yeah.
And failed.
And totally failed, right? Did you want to say anything about those, Mark?
They're just, I like doing interviews on other channels that you wouldn't normally find us on, because a lot of times those people ask us questions that people that know us, they already know the answer to, so they wouldn't naturally ask those questions. Yeah, so Claire did a few interviews on her channel, and then I was like, oh, those really turned out really well. And so then I said, she asked if I wanted to do one. So I said, sure, I can come over and do one. And I think I owe her at least another episode or so, because things came up in those that it was just too much to talk about without having its own. But
I mean, you have a lifetime of information, so I know it's hard to fit it into one thing.
Yeah, and at some point we are going to do a live with Shalise, with Mark and I, because Shalise and I were going to do a live, and then she was like, well, let's wait until after I've aired Mark's episodes, and then we can all go on. And I was like, awesome. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I had seen her channel before you guys even did your interviews, because, I just thought it was fascinating, some of the people that she had on and everything. So I was familiar with her.
Yeah. I learned about her through Aaron, because he did an interview with her. And I was like, wow, I really like her format. And, it's just she has a really great approach, and it's a great channel. So anyway, yep.
Good. Excellent. So the next thing is 2 more episodes of Where Was Shelley hit the airwaves this last week. One was with Sterling, and the other one was with Karen Presley.
Yes.
And that's her book, Escaping Scientology, an Insider's True Story, and a beautiful picture of her. I loved that interview, Claire. That was really, I learned a lot of things that I had no idea about. And boy, I was put right back in the Del Sol building.
Yes,
when she was talking about being,
when she was talking about the creaking
PR.
floorboards, and I know I was too. I was literally like, oh, I know. It was such a great conversation, and we already have a lot more things lined up. I love that she's like, I have a whole list of questions I want to ask you. I'm like, ooh, yay.
Oh, nice, nice. Oh, that'll be great.
It'll be awesome.
Good. Yes. 3 more chapters of Scientology abuse at the top were done and put up. So it was chapters 5, 6, and 7 were completed.
I have a question on that, Amy.
Yeah.
Did you already record the audiobook?
No.
So are you?
I mean, there's an audiobook up, but it's not me. So these chapters are me reading the book and then filling in all kinds of stuff and talking about what, it was fun. Because I had to like go like a big fat knowledge report, when I wrote it, because at the time that I wrote it, they were, threatening me with lawsuits and all. So everything I could prove is what I said. So now I'm filling in the gaps, and it's really fun when I read it, because I'm back in there again. And I just crack myself up about the way I say different things when I'm even writing in the book,
Yeah.
And anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
So when I'm done, I'll edit it just for sound and then put it up as an audiobook.
I was going to say that would be, you would slay if you had that.
I told Amy the same thing last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yes,
good.
I totally did.
Yeah. And many people have said that to me too. So I know. Yeah. But anyway, so I've already recorded a chapter 8, and there's only 15 chapters. So I'll get that probably finished in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll make an audiobook. But it's really, it's healing to do it. And I'm really enjoying it and enjoying the comments from people from that.
Nice.
I am loving that our youngest son is my biggest cheerleader on writing my book. It's so sweet.
Oh, fabulous.
Because I told him my whole strategy, like I'm just going to do a little bit each day. And I picked him up from school yesterday, and he was like, so Mom, did you make some progress? I'm like, you know what? I did. You're such a sweetheart. I love you.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So Matt and I did a video on Scientology fair game. How do you like my little thumbnail there?
It's awesome.
It's
I love
amazing.
your graphics game is definitely much better than us, Amy.
I love it. I have a whole I love this graphics thing. I could have totally done it for a living if I didn't join Scientology. Oh, no, just because I enjoy it. But anyway, so Scientology fair game with Matt and Amy, life in Scientology's crosshairs.
Nice.
Yes.
And is that, are you guys going to go into the documents?
Oh, no, we didn't even get there. This was the first one that we did, and we covered a lot in there.
Awesome.
But it was amazing how many documents I actually had of my own.
Nice.
Police report numbers and all kinds of different things. So that was a good video. Got a lot of really great feedback on that. And I've got more coming. I've got a whole list of things that I still want to take up, because anyway, I don't want to talk about it now because it's going to be in the video.
Nice.
The next thing is that Matt's been getting all kinds of information about what's going on at Flag. The place is leaking like crazy. So how about this for a thumbnail? The Flagland base is leaking, and I got this little sewer cap. So that video, there's been a lot of views just in 24 hours on that video, and it's amazing, the leaks, and it's completely shocking. It's not something that he's been looking for or anything like that. But do you know when Matt was like for 20 years at the Flagland base? They know him really well. He was the captain of Flag Crew. He was over the CO Renos, commanding officer over the renovations. He was the Treasury Secretary there for 7 years, permanently posted. He was the an ad council chairman, which is the advisory council over all the divisions for financial planning and all the finances. And he was over the registrars as the dissemination secretary for a number of times. So he is known at the Flagland base. Okay.
Yeah.
When he left, they made the big mistake of telling people that because he was loved, they told him that he was sick, and so he had to leave the Sea Org because he was like deathly ill.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
No. So he can walk around the property down there, and everybody's going like,
"Oh, he must have got better." Yeah, he must have got better.
Wow. Yeah, so, and he knows so many people. So
that's awesome.
Anyway,
that's amazing. Yeah. So, but also that messed. Yeah, that messed them up, because now when people say, "Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you something," you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm declared," or be like, "What?
He doesn't
We told
do that.
you got
He doesn't
sick."
shut them up. Yeah, he doesn't shut them up.
That's what Mark does too all the time. If somebody like it would happen all the time in LA. Mark would just let the person spill the beans.
Yeah.
It just would come floating out.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what's coming up this new week is tomorrow is Danny Masterson's sentencing. So this is something where all of our eyeballs will be on to see the final outcome and to see him when he gets his sentencing, he's going to be routed. So that's justice, and justice will be served.
Hey,
and this
do we want to chime in? Do we want to? What do people think?
So.
No. I mean, like, what do you guys think? You think he's going to get 60 years, or do you think he's going to get 100 years, or do you think he's going to get life? What do you think?
Oh, do you want people in the comments to answer that, or do you want me?
I'm asking you to.
Oh, I think he's going to get probably 30 years.
Well, no, isn't it 30 each charge?
It's
I thought it was 30 years to life total
for each charge.
Oh,
he got 2 charges, so he caught 2 charges. So
I thought it was 15 and 15, so it's 30 years to life.
Oh, is that what it is? It's 15
That's what
each one?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought 15 and 15, so it was going to be 30 to life was the
what do you
expectation.
Think? What do you
think?
That's
what I think. I think it's going to be 30.
You think it's going to be 30?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Claire?
For the sake of the Jane Does, I hope it's as long as possible.
I think it's going to get 100 years. That's what I think.
Why would it be 100 years? Like,
because it can be 15 to life.
So it could be 50
I think
each, or it could be whatever.
So it's 15 to life for each charge, I think. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak on it either, but
I think he's going to get a lot. I think the judge is going to make an example of him.
Yep. Well,
and the same judge who went through that whole trial is the one who's going to be doing the sentencing. So yeah, she's very familiar.
But also they tried to jack with her court on both times. I mean, the Scientology was behind the scenes up to nonsense.
Yeah.
Trying to do stuff. So it's almost like if he was going to get off easy, he might now not because of the nonsense.
Because of Scientology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, he deserves whatever
my hope is the rest of his life. That's my hope.
Yeah.
And let's not forget too that the evidentiary hearing happened after the case had concluded, in which it was clearly documented that Scientology was completely 100% in the mix. So, that's corruption, and I don't think any judge would take kindly to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see tomorrow. And then the next thing is Friday night, 7 p.m. I'm having a live with Erin Grady, which is Janice Gillum Grady's daughter, about our Christian faith, because she's a Christian too. And we're going to do a live stream. She just started a video. And so that's Friday night.
Channel?
Did I say video? I meant channel. Yeah.
Awesome.
So she just
Erin started a channel.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
You got to get a link so we can subscribe.
Yes. And then there's going to be more chapters of Scientology Abuse at the top and another episode of Where's Shelley?
Yes.
So those are the things that are coming up for next week. This is a comment of the week on my channel, and it's from FW919. And there's so many great comments, but I picked this one. It says, the first time I heard of fair gaming many years ago, it was clear that Scientology was evil. Everything I have heard since gets worse and worse. The thing I've noticed is that it is obvious to anyone that the garbage Scientology spews out about SPs, quote unquote, is untrue. The photos are clearly manipulated. The language is obviously pejorative, aiming to get an emotional reaction, and the whole thing looks like a sulky 12-year-old wrote it. I'm sorry you and others have been subjected to such evil. I do not understand why law enforcement and governments allow this to continue. Amen. Well, thank you so much, FW919. I am going to send you a copy of Scientology Abuse at the Top for your comment of the week. And so please contact me, Amy, at scobie-publishing.com, and with your contact information, and I will send you a book. I picked that one because we're talking about fair gaming. We had a video about fair game. We've got fair game going on with Mike and Christy. We've got the lawsuit against it. So it's right up that vein. And that was a very good comment by that subscriber, I thought.
Definitely.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Okay. So Claire, this one is a quote that you picked for quote of the week. So I'll give this one to you.
Okay, quote of the week. Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Thanks for sharing at Necessary Trouble. And then this is a quote from John Lewis, correct? Yeah, I
Congressman from Georgia.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
Excellent
Awesome.
quote.
Okay, so I picked a Scientology word of the week.
Oh, I like your graphic there too. Gosh,
yes.
Look at you.
But actually it was Matt that picked it. He suggested it, and he said that this is something that confused him so much when he first got into Scientology. You ready?
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Yes.
So the Scientology definition of reasonable: faulty explanations, accepting reasons why something cannot be done, accepting incomplete cycles as complete, and failing to follow through to get a completion. Here's a sentence: never appoint a reasonable person to an executive position. Real world definition: based on or using sound thinking or good judgment, and therefore being fair and practical. Sentence: make sure to appoint a reasonable person to executive positions.
That's such a great point, because that's literally when you get in trouble, you're being reasonable right now. And you're like,
oh
yeah, totally. And you're like, that's not a good thing. And you're like, what?
Clear the definition of reasonable, but don't do it in a regular dictionary. Do it in the Scientology dictionary.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Such a good one.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah, when we were doing the job, Matt was talking about that when we were working. He was like, I think he was saying something. We should do like all these words. You should just explain a word or something. I was like, oh, okay.
That's true.
That's
and
awesome.
Another thing that I wrote down that somebody suggested, which I think is a great idea and it would be fun to do with you guys, which is hacks for Sea Org members.
Totally.
Like all the things that we did to get around something, to do, because I could just think of so many right off the top.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be a funny one to do.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
I have so many good ones that I guarantee you would be, you guys are like, yep, did that for sure. As soon as we start talking about them, everyone's like, oh my God, you did that too?
So
that'll be amazing.
Hey, okay, so this is entree husbandino.
Hey, Matt.
Matt. That was awesome.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is we were talking about hacks that Sea Org members use to get around the crap, right? Yeah. And that it would be so awesome for the four of us. So maybe when I get the 10,000, which I'm working on now, and hopefully everybody subscribe, then we'll do hacks of the Sea Org member, and it'll be all four of us.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So we should start thinking about that now, so we can make a list and have a fun video about that.
Totally.
We'll start our list right tonight, because I already think of like 10 things. So yeah.
Is that right?
Hey,
okay.
Matt. Been long time no see.
He said, long time no see, Matt. Yeah.
Remember the Alamo.
Yeah.
It was the Alamo. Okay, and then so we had to have a photo of the week, but I didn't get one from a subscriber.
Yeah,
but I had one to show you.
Oh,
nice.
Cuties. I love it. That's amazing.
And my subscribers are calling them my furry fruits.
Nice.
Mango and kiwi.
Nice.
Oh, they're so cute.
Very cute.
Okay, and so send in your pictures, quotes, or requests for word of the week so that they can be included in future broadcasts, and those are our emails, so that you can do that. Yes.
Perfect.
So show and tell. Do you have anything that you wanted to show?
Oh yeah, sure. I have
and I have a couple things too.
I got a life-size Keebler elf from John Zatowski. Thank you, John. Honey, you have one of these down there as well. He sent us 2 of these. See?
Awesome. I want to show
And then
something.
somebody.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I loaded it. I didn't know it was going to play the second I did it.
And then I got this. It's a
needlepoint.
Yes, needlepoint. Where is Shelly?
Ah.
Thank you so much I didn't ask for permission to say the name, so I won't say the name. And I wanted to give a shout out, a very special thank you to Tarkina Meyer. She made Serge Obolensky a quilt. It arrived today. I sent it off to him. He's incredibly excited. So thank you so much. It's amazing.
Fabulous.
I just wanted to show, I had a little video of Captain Davy Poopy Pants, troll of the whole elf.
Captain Davy.
There's Claire showing it off. And then so you could see him up close in some high quality. And that's just a comparison to Elf on the Shelf, so you can see how big he is.
It's those eyes, that pie face.
It's going to be so amazing. Anyway, so we
sorry, Kaz Ferns is this. I'm pretty sure this was from Kaz Ferns. She just said in chat I could say her name. Thank you, Kaz.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
Nice.
That is something we should tell people. If you send us a photo, or if you send us like you with merch, or you have to say in the photo, it's okay if you show this on the channel. Otherwise, we will err on the side of not showing it on the channel, because some people might not want their picture up here. So if you do send us something, you got to say, hey, it's okay if you use this on the channel, just so we know. But the what we're going to do is, we now have all of the troll of the whole, Davy Poopy Pants, whatever we end up calling it.
Troll of the whole. I love that.
I know. I love that one too. So all of those things are on the way. So they're made. They're now on the way to us. And we are going to we're going to at least send one to every other channel that wants to show them off or wants to promote them. We'll send you one if you want one. So Amy, of course, you're going to get one. But we're going to send one to Mike, and we'll send one to Mark and Janice, and we're going to send one to everybody that
and Aaron and Reese and all the Nora, everybody.
Exactly. So if you guys are watching on one of those channels, send us your mailing info to Claire so we can get that ready for you. But those are going to go out. I want to say those are going to go out in the next week or so to all the different channels. And then we're going to get the stores set up that have them. And these are a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation. But we want to sell. We're going to try to sell about a few thousand of these things. And we want to do it before Christmas. So if we sell out of them, then we may do another one for next year for another thing. We'll see. We might do a different one each year. Like we were thinking of doing like a little leprechaun one. So we'll have a leprechaun one. We'll have an elf one. We'll have all these different ones that we do. So we'll see. We'll see what people think. So and we'll see if we sell out all the ones we made on this first one.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I got this beautiful plaque. And it says, because someone we love is in heaven, there is a little bit of heaven in our home. In loving memory of my dad, James Russell Scobie, 11/7/41 to 8/18/23. And this is from Linda, who is, I just got to say, Linda, anyway, she knows what I feel. And then I got this book. It's Okay That You're Not Okay by Megan
Claire's
Fine.
got that
Oh,
book.
I have that too. Yeah.
Okay, that's
this
awesome.
is from SPTV Warrior, who is amazing.
That's who, yes. SPTV Warrior.
Yeah.
Isn't it SPTV
Tattoo Warrior? Yeah, of course it is.
SPTV Tattoo Warrior. And
see, I pay attention.
I'm loving it. And also it talks about grief, and it's something that I deal with from my job too. So it's a really good book for that. And then of course this t-shirt.
What do I know, guys? I grew up in a cult. There you
Nice.
go.
That's awesome. Anyway, thank you for the people who sent those things in. It's always fun, and I really appreciate you doing that. And it touches my heart. And I know that it does for you guys too.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So there's some more questions. Do you want to do that, or did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Let's just get just make up. I think there's 7 in there. Let's make sure all those people get answers, and then
Okay. And then we can do a final giveaway and wrap it up. How about that?
Okay, good.
All right, Kat and Maggie. The Dean Warner reference was from the movie Animal House. It's Mark's type of humor.
Yeah, I knew what it was. I just didn't want to get into a big explanation of it in the middle of the thing about Animal House.
Yes. No, absolutely.
0.0. It's all good. People know that now. People that know the reference now know that I know the reference.
Yes. Marilyn Honig, Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Claire, Amy, and Mark. I'll be on the replay crew tonight, but just wanted to say hello and send my love. Thanks for all you do. You're amazing, Marilyn. Thank you for all you do. And thanks for being here.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Marilyn.
Yes.
Who makes this place
Marilyn
fun.
just got monetized, I think, or she got enough.
Yes, she did. She did.
She got did she actually get monetized, or did she just get enough hours and everything? Did she actually end up?
She was, well, I don't want to misspeak. Maybe Marilyn can call it, but I thought I saw a post that said that
she reached all the requirements. I don't know that she actually they awarded it yet.
Oh, okay.
That's excellent.
Soon. Yes. Yeah. Free Xenu Project. I'm in the middle of listening to your book on Audible, Amy, but I keep turning it off. So angry for you, but love how you made it through the way you have, caring and strong.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And Marilyn said, yes, she is monetized. Thank you, Marilyn. Yay.
Marilyn.
Congratulations.
Good job, Marilyn.
Yes.
You know, some people on YouTube, there's videos on how to get monetized fast. And these are videos from people who took a year to get monetized.
Oh my gosh.
That's fast. A year is fast on YouTube. If you get monetized in a year, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
So these guys are getting monetized in a matter of a few months. So it's pretty amazing. As far as
even a few days in some cases. But yes, absolutely.
Jenna got 10,000 subscribers before she even had one video.
I know.
That's just how awesome Jenna is. Okay,
yes.
Betsy Simon. The person reading Amy's book mispronounces Miscavige each and every time.
I kept it that way because I thought it was amazing.
That's actually, we've done that before where we misspell things and people said, you spelled his name wrong. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of funny. Saying it wrong and spelling it wrong is super funny.
Doesn't Mike pronounce it Mickey-Witz?
Mickey Witz. For a while, I would say Mick Savage or Miss, just like, whatever, who cares?
Oh, gosh. All right. Rural SD lawyer. Guess 30 years consecutive, not 100 years, probably be considered cruel and unusual in violation of the Constitution, and it would be an appeal issue. They won't blame him for Scientology actions. Yep, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But at the same time, he did some horrible, heinous things. So anyway, I think
it'll be 30 years. We'll see. We'll get tomorrow. Tomorrow we get to see it.
Even 30 years would be like, I think he'd be getting off easy. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway. I understand.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Samaya Naushin. Question. What was Jenny Linson's relationship like with Tom DeVocht? Sounds like at least Mike Rinder is fond of Tom. Oh, yeah. We're all fond of Tom. And
Tom's great.
We all, at least speaking for myself, we all hate Jenny.
Well, Jenny and him were married, so they were a couple. But when he left, she turned violently on him. And, he had hate websites and, they were... It is what it is. When whoever stays usually is not your friend anymore.
Nope.
No.
So it is what it is.
Right away.
If Claire was still there, she'd be churning out the videos too, probably. So
no,
she would have been on it.
I got out, so we're not going to theorize about shit that I would never do. I'm sorry. What kind of a statement is that? That's it.
I'm just saying.
You're in trouble,
just saying.
Mark.
I'm just saying. Just making
Don't
fun.
Say.
Just
Don't
making
say.
Conversation.
Okay. All right. This is going to be my new thing now. Oh, yeah. Remember? You said I was going to do hate videos. I wouldn't. That's why I'm not there anymore.
This is the best. The comments go so crazy when this happened. There's about half the people are like, yeah, Mark's right. And then there's a bunch of people saying, yeah, Mark, take that.
Yeah.
Like this one. Like this one right here. Look, I just found one. Oh my God. Yeah, Mark, take that. It literally, they just said it.
Thank you, Peggy.
Did she say that before or after I said it? Wow, that was fast. Here's
not cool. Not
let
cool.
him have it, Claire. Back in the cage.
Somebody the other day wrote me and they were like, seriously, can you remind Mark he escaped from $1 billion cult the next time he brings up the stupid cage fantasy that he's running with?
What cage? What do you mean?
Claire's had me locked up. I haven't been on YouTube because I've been locked up in a cage down in the basement.
Oh, okay.
Really?
So there was a rumor in the chat that's what had happened.
Oh, come on.
So now people are
I know
like,
where
back
you
in
were.
The cage.
You were working.
I was working.
Yeah.
When I got out of the cage.
SPTV Tattoo Warrior. Thank you. Shirts fit. Yes, and honey, I didn't give you yours, but you have one here too from SPTV Tattoo Warrior.
Jump Change Express. I'm on that one full time.
Just got back.
Jump Change Express. I'm much bigger than people think, I think. But that's all right. This one is
Parallel Jen super sticker. Thank you, Parallel Jen.
Good. Okay, so those are all the stars, right?
Awesome. So we'll do a final giveaway and then wrap up. How does that sound?
Yes. Good. Okay.
All righty.
What do you want to give away?
We'll do a merch giveaway. How about that?
Okay.
From the Blown for Good store. So just comment merch in the chat. And honey, you pick somebody.
Okay, doke. I got to go to the live chat here. So guys, if you want some merch, just say merch or merch me or pick me or Billy Bob 1 2 3, whatever you want. I'm gonna just spin the wheel and I'm gonna pick somebody, but I'm gonna give you time. If you're watching on a phone, I know you got to turn it a little. You got to you got to type. So I'm gonna let you do that, and then I'm gonna do a countdown.
Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, if you need to, if you can only comment. Yeah, if you can only comment on posts from the toilet, because that's just where you like to get and do your reading, then get in there really quick. Or if you're in there, you've already been in there, then now it's time to get the hands working too. Here we go. And I'm going to we'll count it down because I like to give people a chance. Some people are watching
you've given them plenty good chance now, honey. Yes. Let's get to the punchline here.
Yeah, here we go. Poosh. Be merry for life.
Nice.
They said, So let's do that one. Be merry. Hey, Be merry. Congratulations. You won. You're the lucky winner. All you have to do is send. What do you do?
So just go to the merch store on the Blown for Good channel, find what you would like, and send me the link just to the item. You don't have to include any details. Just email me the link of what merch item you would like to claire@blownforgood.com, and I will send you back a giveaway link, and everything else takes care of itself. So there you go.
Nice.
Yes. So let's just go through this one more time, which is please subscribe to both of our channels at Queen BSP and at Blown for Good. And let's see, you can also order a Blown for Good book at blownforgood.com or at scobypublishing.com for Abuse at the Top. So
nice.
Perfect.
Yes.
Solid stream, guys. Solid.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. That was really a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome, honey. Despite the stories you try to tell people about me.
Yes, you criminal.
I'm going to put end cards over this video. And so if you see a video there or if you see a video there, you can click on those videos if you want to get on something over at the Blown for Good channel. That's where I'm going to put it.
Oh, that's really nice.
Right there.
Good. Perfect.
So, for all you people out there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
everybody. We'll see you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
I won't be here next week, but I'll be here the week after. Sorry.
She didn't send me a petition to be able to change it.
Yeah, where we have to talk about that.
Oh, or we could do it Thursday. I just realized.
I have a Thursday live with Becoming Outlaws, Ken Nicolin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will be gone next week. Please excuse my absence, but I'll be back the following week. So there you go.
Yes, but we'll still have a live on Wednesday, and I have a couple ideas of what we might do. So I'll let y'all know. It's okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks.